If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Okay. Hi, welcome to this day 7, right? Yeah. Yes, we are discussing about the sum, and we have reached to a pre-processing phase we are in now. So some procedure which we discussed yesterday. What are this configuration, extraction, pre-processing and stuff. So today we will discuss about the sum troubleshooting and the concept of database migration option. So the third option is the most important. Second option, anyway, your sum tool or the tool itself will come up with an guide for the troubleshooting thing. But you don't have to be too much focus on that second one. But yes, certain basic things I will explain you. But database migration option. So you should be very, very careful or clear with your concept on this one. So if you understand this particular DMO concept, that is more than sufficient. I will not be covering any near zero downtime or database of conversions and all, because no customer will be able to do that, because that is purely done by the SAP. SAP will deploy their developers and SAP will run it with the help of the customer. But this is the option which is given to the customers. So if you understand this concept, DMO concept, that's it. Rest all are like a little bit of tweaking here and there. So, you will be able to understand by reading a book or whatever it is. So that's why we will stress more on this DMO option. So for information purpose, I've put those slides as well, because anyway, I was preparing the content. So what I did is I've copied the near zero downtime and conversion related slides. They are there as part of information, but the concept wise, please try to be perfect with only DMO. Okay, because if I start explaining in this session itself these remaining two procedures also, you get confused and here and there, and then the unnecessary confusion, and then you will understand the concept in a wrong way. Okay, because even I get myself confused with these tools and phases and stuff. So only if you are working with that near zero downtime or the other options, please read or please go through that relevant section, or else your concept has to be very clear and crystal clear with the DMO option. Okay, that should be more than sufficient for your future conversion. And yes, having this knowledge, it is easy to do the. Okay, so we are in this fifth phase, perform execution part with the database migration. Okay, so and then we have the post update steps, and then conversion follow on activities like embedded analytics, theory configuration, and so on. So this we will try to push it to the last day. But today we will try to close this fifth module along with certain basic topics which I will show you, like what is downtime and how and the landscape consideration and all. So those will be, I already discussed many of those things in our last 7 days. It is just like in a pictorial way, I will show you in a very neat and clean way. That's it. Okay. So, I strongly feel that I have given you the, because with the understandings and with the Q&As, what we are having, I feel that you already have got a glimpse of what is this conversion and various topics via question and answers. We discussed a lot of things, but again, it will put you in a clear pictorial and clear understanding path. Okay, the upcoming slides. Good. So first what we do is, let me put it to the presenter view. Okay. So we discussed, start, end of the cleanup and these things we do, and what are the important phases in the sum tool we discussed. So the next thing is, and this also shutdown target part, and how this anyway we will discuss in a very clean way. So what operations is possible on the SPDD. So this is where we stopped yesterday. The system has been locked at this particular time, and if you want to do any corrections in the system, then you have to go to the shadow system and do it. Okay. So then this is the silent data migration. We can see once we log into this thing. Okay. The SAP system. Good. So we have stopped at this particular point yesterday. We will continue from there. First we do the SPDD adjustments and stuff, and we will push the tool to next phase, and then we get back to our theory so that the tool will be running in the background. Okay. Is that fine? So yes, am I audible, guys? Everyone?
Yes, Nishant, it's fine.
Yeah. So we will push the tool to certain, we will forward it, and then so that we don't have to worry of running about this tool. Okay. So open this exercise, all of you. So where we have stopped, yeah, these are all things we did. So, sorry. We check next phase is done, pre-processing, log development environment. Yes, this is completed. Yes. So now we are at step 43. Please confirm once everyone into the 43. So we're going to do the uh, uh, conversion. We are going to do an SPDD. So where is our screen? Yeah, this port 3202. Shadow instance number 02 we have selected. Just now I opened that port because I just tried before this session. Okay, good. So include now your repository modifications in the, okay. You see my screen, guys? Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Now we are in a phase, main roadmap technical step, main shadow run act underscore UPG. Okay. So, whenever you see such screens, it's worth reading it. What it is trying to say. Repository modifications include now your repository modifications in the new SAP import. Okay. So the program has found, and how this program has found, I've told you how this SPDD modifications is report, what exactly it is doing. This tool is comparing the uh, source repository with the shadow repository, which is nothing but your target repository, and then it has identified there are some corrections or there are any discrepancies between the code and modifications. That is what it is reporting. Yeah, just by comparing. So 207 modification objects that need to be adjusted. Yes, so these many objects. So if we just continue with this, then we may lose these 207. So it's worth checking what are these objects and stuff. If you have not included adjustment transports, check the log file, this one above, for potential candidates to reset to SAP original. You can execute this so and so in the shadow system. Anyway, the report automatically reset of the, it automatically do a corrections basically. Just set it to original. So, it understands that, okay, there is no action is needed and let's set it to the SAP original, but that is not, we will go and see. And SAP S/4HANA has found 113 modifications that are not part of the target stack and therefore are passively deleted. That's okay. Check if the objects are still required. The detailed list of the objects can be found in the so-and-so particular file. It doesn't matter. So if you can open this var passive deleted DDCOM, then you will find what all these 113 modification objects, the tool itself is taking care of. Okay. And it also, yeah, it gives an error. Your modification will be lost. Reset of these objects with these particular steps. So don't do it, even though if SAP will give you these jobs and all, I would not recommend you to do, because you don't know when you don't have clarity on, because such things, I will strongly recommend with eyes, looking into the objects and then correcting these things. Scheduling jobs and all to set it to original, that is fine. But if you're absolutely sure, then you do it, or else I would strongly recommend to go with this basic approach or the standard approach, what developers generally do. So first thing is log on to the system as user DD client 000 on server, this one, which is nothing but, and instance number is 02. So can you please confirm everybody if you can log into the 02. So what you have to do is change your instance number from 02 to, 00 to 02. Can you please check if you can log in? We are logging into the shadow system. Hello guys.
We are trying.
Hi.
Yes, please. So just change the instance number. That's it. So let me, or your mine is on the, anyway, I've already connected to this instance number, and then use the same user, what I've provided you. Okay, go to this thing, create connection. And then anyway, you guys are aware of these things. So it's just that we are giving the, that is the only way. With the new instance number, obviously it goes to a different system. That's it. So application server IP instance number 02. Okay. And then SID is EBA. That's all right. So then you will just connect to the next, finish. Yes, by default, it takes us to the 000 client. So now I'm logging in with 10 steps to S4, sorry. 5 AP 3 T3CH.
Chance, are the accounts created for everyone or the shadow?
Oh, no. Sorry, my mistake.
I logged in with DDIC and it worked.
DDIC and with master password you have logged in, right?
Yes.
Okay, then, okay, then this. Yes, because we created in the 800 client, not in the, this one. So let me, DDIC. Yes, yeah, anyway, you know, with the DDIC, we have to create our T3CH. So continue without ending any other logons.
Nishant, just maybe the question is wrong, but just while taking the export or creating the shadow instance, will not the SUM will take the user master data also? So like ideally, it will take all the users which are present in the source system, and then
No,
it will be.
it has taken, but we are trying to log into the 000 because the user master data is client specific, right? See,
Yes.
so earlier the system which were using, we are logging into the 800. Okay, all these users 10 steps to 1, 2, 3, 4 were created in the which client? 800 client. Okay, so here we are trying to log into the 000. That is why your users are not existing in the system. Did you get it? So user master data is a client specific data.
Okay.
Yeah, clear?
Understood. Yeah, clear.
Yep. So that is why our users are not, because we did not create in 000. So let me see if I, yeah, I'm able to log in. So yes, shadow system. Yes, DDIC we can use, guys. All of us can we, or 5 minutes I will create it. Let me do it here, guys, quickly. So DDIC very any, because let me copy it. Copy of this to, first thing is 10 steps to S4.
Nishant, maybe sorry, following up on Abhira's question, you said it's client specific. I think we have created in 001, I think, if I'm not wrong.
No, 800.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
001.
Yes. The system says both clients are not existing. 001 is not available and 800 is also not available.
No, it was 100 clients, Sagar. Sorry. Client
One
was
second.
100.
Sorry. Hold on, guys. Wait. Let me.
Okay.
I mean, one second. I'll clarify this. Hold on. I mean, I'm getting with the another ERP IDA system. Hold on. I'll tell you which client we have created. Okay. Just be.
100 only.
Yeah, it's 100. It's 100. Sorry, I got confused with IDES. You know IDES systems, right? So IDES systems has this 800 client. I thought it's an IDES system. Hold on. I will clarify that. So let me set this password. So user type. Oh yeah, 10 steps to insert this one. Welcome 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it will be slow because this has not run the SGen now. I will clarify that question. Just be, or we will log into the system and quickly see. Where is my this thing? So edit. So I'm just trying to make it as ERP sum system and then use my other system 3200. Yes, it's a 100 client. Okay. What we have created is the 100 client. By default, it has picked. So I mean, so in our case, this is the 100 client. So 10 steps to S4. So but in order to do SPDD and SPOW, we are logging into the 000. But same concept what I've explained is true. So because our users are in 100, and if you try to log into the 100, you will find your user over there.
Yes, that's what I am thinking, but it's saying password or something is incorrect. Can you try on your side? Am I making a mistake?
Yeah. 1
Shadow
second.
instance. Just to have a clarity whether users are copied or not.
Try to log into this. Let's see. Or at this particular phase, it should be, see, I mean, if you are not able to log in, I will tell you why we were not able to log in. That concept I will explain you. We have a slide over there. Okay. So For example, let's try to log in. Got it. Yeah, I will explain you this. Okay. So, which means, so I will explain you, Sagar. Park this question at this moment. Okay.
Sure.
So why the users have not copied, why the users have not copied at this phase. Okay. So it is nothing but your application data has not yet been created in your shadow instance. Okay. So, I mean, just to put a nutshell. So at this particular phase, it has done only the sum tool has done only the standard repo, right, which comes with the DVDs. That part it has, the repo tables and the objects, standard objects which are part of the DVDs, it has put it in the standard repo directory, I mean repo tables, and those tables are compared with the existing, and it has thrown us these are the modifications needed. Okay. After this phase, if you proceed further after taking these corrections, because before you get the application data, what you need, right? You need tables in the systems in a consistent state, right? That is why this phase has come first. So once you assure that, okay, all my tables looks good, all my modifications are good, then it goes and it creates those structures or the tables in a proper way. I mean, it's already created. Now it compare it. After you take the action, then it understands that, okay, my repo or the table structure on the target is ready. Now I am good to import the application data. You getting this sequence? So then it will proceed to import the application data. When I say application data, it is a client specific data. Okay. So 100 client or 800 client, whatever it is. So it will try to copy the content to those tables, and then you will be able to log into the shadow system. Is that clear? So
Okay.
why we have not got this application, I mean, user master data at this moment is it is still at the phase of finalizing the table structures on the target. That is why it just compared and it has given these things. Okay. So Abhira, is that answer your question? Did you follow it
Yes,
now?
yes, Nishant.
Thank you.
Understood. Yeah.
Yep.
So as at this moment, it will only take the 000 client information. Whatever the user master data is in 000 client of the source system, it will take for in the shadow system.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the reason. So when I explain the DMO concept, I will explain you what phase, what actions happen, and from the starting of the shadow creation to the end of the shadow creation, how it is going to switch and all, we will discuss over there. Okay. Let's have it with this understanding at this moment. So now, so 000, because do we need these many 10 steps to? So same like, okay, so I'm creating the first user. So first user, once you log in, please try to create the last user. I mean, we'll close it quickly. So then copy it, the 10 steps to S42. Score 1. Okay, so I'm taking the same password as 10 steps to S41. Welcome 123. So one, can you please try to log in? Let me create two quickly. Hello, who's one? Is not there. Okay, I thought I dropped off. So shadow 2, please log in. Welcome 123, capital W. 3. So we will take just 5 minutes and then close this off. So that go. Show 01. 4. Then 5. 4 you continue. I'm just creating the 5 now. Five is done. 6. or those of you who can do yourself, you can start with, you can log in with the DDIC and then create 14, 15 are those users. Okay, 6 is done. So and then 7. Seven done. 8. Okay, so see, I would have created these users before only, but the problem is, you don't get how the system gets. I mean, you would have logged in and you could have simply thought that by this phase everything has come. That's why I didn't. I mean, I try to do everything in class only. Okay, so and then 9. So done. 10, please. Done. So and then 11. Okay. And then 12. And 13. Okay, then 14.
Nishant, I created 14 already for myself.
Okay.
I am able to log in.
Okay. So, okay, guys, quickly confirm. Sri Kumar, done. Rashekar,
Done.
Sumangala, Nilesh, Harsha, Sophia,
Done.
Done.
Ravi, Kichor, Sagar, done.
Yes.
Ramya, Abira,
Yes.
Rajat, Vishal, Mohan. Very good. So that's it. So you are in the system. Now let's go to our this thing exercise. Okay. So SPDD adjustment, set the system to change option with transaction code SC06. Create new user by, anyway we have done a new user by copying the DDIC. First DDIC I copied my user, and from my user I copied to all of you. Okay. Password with the 10 characters. That's all right. So use the transaction SC0 and then that's it. So reset. So this is a test environment. Reset to standard is possible and no need to perform this step in your cal instance. Okay. Even though they say no need to perform this instance. So I mean, we can proceed with the same just by pressing the next button, but let's do this. So create a transport request for SPDD. Okay, the first thing. So the SPDD transaction asks you to create a new protocol, and you can choose the this one. Okay. So now let's do the, or let me do one thing so I don't have to go to that WTS quickly. Do this thing. Almost 3202. So I can quickly do this here itself. Okay. Steps to S4. T3CH. Continue with this log on without any. Okay. Then SPDD. Okay, so here you have this standard assigned by transports and stuff. So let's try to select the standard. So configuration is currently locked by the 10 step. Okay. Only one person can do this, guys. Okay, so it is Mohan. I think you have logged it. Hello, am I audible, Mohan?
Yes, you're audible, but
But Mohan is not.
Okay, so
maybe you can kill the session. I don't know.
let's see 03. Mohan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you come out of it?
Come out of
I mean,
SPDD.
SPDD.
Ah, okay. Okay, I executed the T code and I have some pop-up. Okay, I'm closing it.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, it's done.
Okay. Thank you. So this one also, let me minimize it. I don't want to go back and forth. So this is the system I have, and this is the screen. Let me minimize this also. Let me put it over here. Okay, good. So now let's go to the SPDD. So it will ask us to do the protocol. Let's do this. Protocol type, just type SPDD underscore ADM328 underscore SHADOW. Okay, shadow. Just create some name, anytime is fine. Okay. Okay. So here you see the first, as soon as you get into the modification adjustment, so you see some buttons: refresh, set default transport, reset absolute nodes. Okay, and then nodes. What are the nodes we have? So this node is there, and then these are the panels you see. Okay, selection objects, node objects. So what is the current status of this node? It is absolute status, has to be confirmed. Okay, so this is how it will tell you. Even though it is absolute, you have to confirm it. Okay, so this is some processor with SAP. So confirm absolute SAP node. So this is the action. This is the action center. I mean, the guy, whoever has logged in, he has to take this one. So either you can click on this one, reset absolute nodes, or confirm these absolute nodes. Whatever things, confirm the absolute SAP node. Okay. So here this one, click on this. So and then you find this execute button. So yes, it just takes the compiling time. Okay, it will ask us the request number. So what we will do is, let's create one. Okay, short description ADM 328 underscore SPDD. Okay, sorry, 8 I have missed. So this is the exact process your developers will do, guys. But yeah, it depends on the objects and what it will report, but this is how they're going to do. That's what I mean to say. It's not that same action you do. Okay, it has created a transport number. So it is the 1010. That's okay. I mean, we will anyway. I'm doing it this 10 steps to S4. So why this compiling is taking? Can someone explain?
Basically, no SGen is sorry. Continue.
Yes, yes. As I said, system is still at the initial state. So the shadow system just has got the new objects or the new programs, everything. So once we do this, then only it will have a consistent state of the tables, and then during the pre-processing, it will run a SGen. Okay. On the target, target report. So, but anyway, so this is taking crazy time.
I have one question. Meanwhile, I don't know. I can answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's regarding shadow instance itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday you said for 1909 it was created at the target, but now onwards SAP is preferring only to do it
Yes.
on source. So in real
No,
scenario,
that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay. I
same
have,
how?
I have prepared a slide on it. Okay.
Okay.
I have verified it. Yes.
Yes, I was because SADO system will be created, of course, in S4 release and HANA database and Linux and everything. In real-time scenarios, what companies will do? Will they expand their current host with all those capabilities to have SADO instance, or they will have it? Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
Let's
Yeah,
park this question
discuss.
now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. When we
So
discuss the slide, we can take
yes,
it.
by the end of that today, you will get answer to this question. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So yeah. So see guys, one more note, or we could have selected all and then reset it. But anyway, let's do this. This is also confirm. So same transport. So I've told you when I was explaining the yesterday, SPDD use only single transport. Okay. And even for SPOW also one transport. So don't create multiple transports for the SPDD. So you put all these corrections into one transports. Okay. So transport number, yes, again, confirm the absolute note and then it will ask us to confirm. So same 1010, it has created number, yes. So action successfully completed. You can see the status here. Object has been reset, object has been reset. So now you can see 0 nodes. Okay. So now here with assistant 0, nothing to be modified. Without assistants, so go to without assistant. This is what it says. Our exercise 14, step number 49. Let me move this little bit. Let me expand it if possible more. Okay, good. So go to without assistant and choose reset execute. So there are 6 things are there. Let's do them. So, I mean, the moment you go to the, what we call this SPDD, these are the 4 things: nodes, without assistant, deletions. These are the ones which needs action, if I have to put it. Okay. So 49 without we executed it. So yes, we see some of them are status. Let's see what is this red status. Why this is not giving? Manual adjustment. So red means manual adjustment is needed. So yellow means so tool supported adjustments. So this one is possible to reset candidates. I mean, we can reset it automatically. Okay. So go to deletion. See, I'm not a developer. I can't take a call on what is this object and what it is going to do. So only the SDF, FDQ, whoever is owning this, the developers will be able to tell us what is this object and what it is going to do. But the actions, what has to be taken here, either if manual adjustment you have to do or automatic tool, the SPDD can itself adjust it to the new standard. And this one is, I mean, possible reset. I mean, we can simply reset it to the original. Okay. So go to deletions. 49 is done. So what it says, go to without and reset, choose to reset execute. Okay, all of them, it says selected, reset. 6 of them reset. So what this reset will do, it will give you explanation also, action description, reset modification, prerequisite. So result, the object remains in the current state. Reset means, I said reset to original. Changes belongs to the correction are implemented in nodes are kept. Okay, unless there are such changes, these objects will no longer be marked as modified or after restarting spoke. Okay, anyway. So this will give you the description of what action you are taking. So this is very smart. Not, I would not say smart, but it is good thing. At least it will give you at that particular time action object. These are the actions we are going to do. So just they are asking us to do a reset. So same, please be careful. Don't create any other transport. Put it in the same transport. So now we have taken the action. So again, it shows 0 here. So that is the thing which we want. So which means this status is corrections has been taken care. So now 50, go to deletions, delete modification log and select execute. Okay. So let's select all of them. Okay. So deletions, delete, modify and select execute. Delete modification log, all of this 1919. So just confirm it. So let's do a quick refresh. Now the deletions has come 0. So now, which means you have acted upon everything. Nodes 0, without assistant and deletions 0. So now you have a clean screen. Okay. You must release the tasks of the SPD. Yeah, this is important. Yesterday I was talking. You have to release only tasks, not the entire transport. For example, what is the T code to see the transport number? Yeah, transport, the display. Yes. So, okay, this is the transport we have done. So this is the main transport. Okay. And what I'm trying to say is these are the tasks. What are the tasks? We did some repair, we did some development corrections, and these are the tasks. So what this, please guys understand, what the tasks in a shadow system, only releasing of this task should be done. Okay. You should not release this particular transport. Please understand this. Okay, you release only these tasks, and so that is what, let's do this. Okay, it's released, and then try to release this. Okay, even if you try to release this, I'll tell you. So now that's it. Don't release it like any other thing. So even if you try to release it, it will tell you request cannot be released during the upgrade. It will give you the error. You getting the point? Okay. We are not doing is now why this is not allowing at this particular moment is this particular transport, right? This will be imported by the in pre-processing phase or the downtime pre-processing phase only. By the tool, it knows exactly at what phase and what are the prerequisite steps like shadow tables or the all the repo, everything is in consistent state. Then only it takes care of it. Okay, and moreover, it also activates the objects whatever we have corrected at a respect, because there are thousands of phases which we are not aware. Okay, so there is nothing you need to do, only the task. That when I say only the task, again task you have to release. Task release, but don't release the transport. Even if you try to release the transport, it will not allow you. Okay, and as we discussed yesterday, no manual import or no manual, for example, development we are doing now. If you want to do it in test, no, don't copy the data file co-file and don't put it into the test or these things. Okay. So the tool will understand with your transport routes. Yesterday we discussed which is your test and which is your development, target. So, and don't change your transport configuration also during the upgrades. Okay, and you freeze it. 3 months or 4 months, don't create any extra test system or extra this thing. Okay, good. So now, so set the adjuster and continue with the procedure with this sum. Okay, so which means now let's go to our
Nishant,
tell
one
me.
question. In SPDD, we have 4 different type of categories, right? So notes is something we understand. So there are others called with assistant, without assistant. So what does it actually means? What assistance we are talking about? What are those deletions?
Simple. Without
You
assistant
know?
means, without assistant means there are some manual corrections are needed. Okay. With assistant means there are no manual corrections in those notes, and just click it and it will go to SAP OSS connection and it will get the notes and implement it. You get
Okay.
it? Okay. So the first one, let's do this one. Yeah. So there are notes. It would have reported you with absolute notes or
Yeah.
some other all categories. With assistant means with note assistant, S note. Okay.
Okay.
With S note,
Okay.
you can implement them, and without assistant means there are some manual activities and you have to perform them, and actually you have to open the note and fix that. Okay, and then you can implement it. Okay. Deletions means you can delete those things. What are the things which are no longer applicable in your S/4HANA? You got it. Those are the deletions it will say.
Okay.
So and then and it give you a picture of, okay, these are the 99 things which I am going to delete it. So you go and verify them and you take an option. If there is something is needed, then obviously you have to create put it in the SPDD. You got it? So
Yeah.
that's it. So it's a this is what it means. Okay. So modification agent. There is one more step which we missed to do. Can someone tell me? So modification agents assign transport. So let's check this one. So this is the one which we have done. Okay. So this part we have to do, guys. So assign the modification objects to this particular we have to execute. Choose a valid line, this one. Request for follow-on systems is this one. Okay. So once you do the correction, and before you releasing that, you should have done it. But anyway, so you have to come assign, once you fix everything right, then assign transport request and then mention that transport request number. Then it will be, it will tell you that, okay, in the follow-on systems, please use this, this thing. Okay. Are we good? Clear? Hope you got some clarity on what exactly the developers will do.
Yeah.
Yes. So adjustment has been made. Let's press next. So then let's do a quick refresh. So now let me minimize this. Let me maximize this. Sorry. So then the next phase, act underscore UPZ will run for 3 hours. And then after that, it will run 18 hours for the pre-processing to complete. Okay, 18 plus 3, around 18 hours only. I mean, I just put maximum number of hours because I slept and I did not, maybe some 2-3 hours it would have completed early. But anyway, I've given the 3 plus 18 hours total. So which means today our time is 9:45. By tomorrow 9:45, this should complete. Okay. And then if you estimate the records more than 20, use the transaction SAP note MacDoc. Okay, this will tell you what it has to be. So after 20 hours, we will get this screen, guys. Okay, so provide partitioning for the table. So we have discussed it. For the bigger tables, the SAP by default the tool is redistributing the tables. So there was one note table redistribution. So MacDoc is a use table. So it just gives an information. So we just have to click next. Okay. So at 56%. Okay. So this is a screen where basis team will perform the mentioned activities, perform the preparations. So stop all production activities and stuff. But anyway, we will see. Let it complete this 18 hours. So pre-processing backup and stuff. And then what all we have then? So pre-processing actions completed, then it enters into the execution phase. Execution phase will run for around 4 hours. Okay. So hopefully by tomorrow evening, we will be done with this sum tool. There are no much activities. So it is just like 18 hours, you wait for it, confirm the redistribution, and then confirm that you have the backups and stuff. Then you enter into the downtime and then the tool will complete. Okay, we'll see it. Okay, let it complete it. Or in the worst case, today evening, if I see, please note this, if it's stuck at this 56%, right? So I may push it to the next. You're getting my point, what I'm trying to say, guys? So this is the just simple step. It will give you this kind of screen stating that I'm going to do a redistribution of this particular table. Please confirm, it will tell. So we'll just press the next, and then at least we will reach to the pre-processing completion phase. Okay, good. So now let it run. Okay, so it is activating the ABAP dictionary objects. So this is what I'm trying to say, activating ABAP dictionary objects. So you don't do the activation also. See, generally when we correct some modifications, we will try to do by ourselves activating those objects. So no, don't do that. So the sum tool itself will do the activation and ensure that the shadow repository, everything is perfect. And then after that, it starts importing the application data and the from the this to this one. Okay, this is how the is running. This is how it will proceed. Okay, so what we will do is now get back to our theory. Any questions, guys? There, tool is clear now. SPDD, SPIU. Then I will move to the some execution, some troubleshooting. Okay, and then the most important topic is the DMO. What exactly happens in the shadow and what are the phases? I mean, we don't have to know that how the tool and what it is triggering, but it is important for us to know what are the critical conceptual phases where it is switching and where it is taking what action. Okay, that we will go today. If you understand that concept, the shadow concept, that's it. I mean, you are very good with the sum. I mean, you don't have to know anything else. Okay, so good. Some troubleshooting. Are we good? Any questions? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
No questions on my side.
Good. So troubleshooting. See, what are the you can see the left hand this one. This is also important for you to understand how this sum UP or the sum UI, the moment you call the sum UI, right, with URL, how exactly it is being called upon and how it is working and how your SAP UP process is communicating to the system. Okay, so let's have a look at it. What I'm talking is, so let it, I mean, see, this is the sum UI. I mean, from this UI, when you click on next, so it is doing the actions on the system, right? So how this communication works? So let's see quickly. ES minus EAF. Great. So let's see the process. What we are talking about is this one. Okay. So, so this is the SAP UP process. Yeah, you can see SAP download some ABAP bin UP process. This is what we are talking about. So this is this process is mainly, I mean, when you call the UI, So this SAP UP process is responsible for communicating with your SAP system, both source, target, and source and target. Okay, good. So that is how you need to understand. So some UI, and this is being coordinated by this SAP UP is coordinated by the SAP host agent on that particular server. Okay. So SAP UP, I told you in the entire upgrade, right? There are 3 activities mainly. I mean, only 3, that's it. There's nothing else. So only 3 processes will take care of your entire upgrade. Okay. See, number 1. So your SAP UP should communicate to your SAP system, right? I mean, for what purposes? Can somebody tell? What purpose it has to communicate to the SAP system? So, I mean, to create the shadow instance, to understand the what are the parameters, or to copy the from this profile to that profile, it has to communicate to the SAP system, right? Source system ERP, ABA, let's keep that in mind. And the second thing, it may have to import the transports to the same database. Okay. So import will be taken care by who? TP. TP is nothing but R3 trans, right? Both are same functionality. Okay. So it has to communicate to the TP so that the TP, because it cannot communicate directly to DB. Okay. It will call the TP and then TP will go and do whatever it has to do, because TP or R3 trans is the only authorized person, right? With SID ADM who can go and do something on the import of the transports, etc. or programs. So those things only to the DB done by the transport, R3 transport. Be clear, guys. There should not be any confusion in this topic. So, and then one more important activity I told, export and then import. Who will take care of it? It is R3 load. That's it. So SAP UP process on this, see, it's very simple. UI, it will talk to SAP UP process, and SAP UP process will deal with these 3. That's it. Matter settled. The entire sum, these 3 guys are the actual workers. Okay. SAP UP is just a manager. Okay. I mean, it will try to manage it. Okay. What is my task? Okay. It is related to the background jobs. ATP. Go and talk to the SAP system. ABAP work processor, background work process. You go and assign those ABAP related. Oh, it is a R3 trans. I have to import it. That knows. I mean, each phase will have some node convention. Then it will tell, okay, it calls the TP, R3 trans. Okay, go and do this thing on DB. That's it. It just coordinates. It just coordinates, and as a manager, it will keep updating the status in the sum directory. That's it. This is your entire sums operation. Okay. So simple. If your kernel is bad, I mean, if you have not downloaded the right kernel or thing, R3 load doesn't work and R3 trans also doesn't work. Simple. Okay. So that is the problems. I mean, you need to see whether your TP is working on R3 trans minus -D and all. So ensure that you have but anyway, you will follow the maintenance plan. It will give you the right thing. So SAP UP has nothing to do. Troubleshooting means you have to troubleshoot in this thing. Transport. So how do you take RSTP, INST? You know that report, right? TP check. Do you know? RSTP test. Hello, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
So RSTP test. Okay, there is a report. You can explore. If you run that report, it will tell you the where is this one? 3200. So anyway, as a part of your prerequisite, you should do this. So 10 steps. S4. Okay, so go to SC38. RSTP TEST. Yes, this one. Transport tools. So this is the report. You should put it in your yeah. So this should give you the complete. They should not report any errors. Okay. If it reports any errors, obviously this TP doesn't work properly. Simple. So this is how you check this. I mean, above system. So this is TP interface green, transport profile green, and some profile it has cannot read some TP profile. It's okay. Anyway, it is reading it. So version invalid format. Just these are the warnings, but these should all be ticked in your case. Okay. So everything should be clean. So DB connect link to database failed or error setup STD out standard out error. So in your you were not supposed to have, but for this one, these guys have just TP version is 381, and this is sufficient actually, ideally. I mean, these 4 are sufficient. That's why our tool is proceeding further. But in your case, you should have everything in your green color. So fix it. So why it is not able to read the TP for profile? Okay. So see, in the path, the profile is in this path. Go and check the permissions of that profile. TP profile has an invalid format. Okay. Why it is having? So if you go and check it in your live system, okay, you will feel it. Everything will be green. Okay. So this is how you have to ensure that your what we call TP is in a properly working. R3 load comes with the kernel. So there's nothing. I mean, kernel upgrade, if your system comes up means, then your this thing would have come. And also in the checks phase, when it is extracting and checks, if the kernel has some problem, some tool will report there itself. Then there's no alternative. You just download it again and put the right one. Because sometimes while you are copying, your files gets corrupted. But as a general practice, don't extract somewhere and copy it to the server. Okay. So always extract the files on the server itself. I mean, using SAP car command. If you don't have that SAP car command, now where do you get it? It is in the kernel itself, right? SAP car minus XVF, and then give the file name and extract it over there. Okay, that's the thing. So here, job underscore and run underscore phases. Okay, so wherever you see a terminology in your logs directory, job underscore or run underscore, any phase. For example, if you let me put this sum tool here itself. Where is this? I don't have to go there so that screens will be clear. Yeah, task list. So what I'm trying to say is wherever you see this run underscore. Can you see this, guys? Run underscore. So or wherever you see job underscore. Okay, it's a simple terminology. Job underscore or run underscore phrases. So these are being triggered by the SAP TP. SAP up starts a background job or a function module in the system. So they come into the category of connecting to the SAP system. So I told you only 3 categories: SAP system for background jobs and dialog or whatever it is. It will go to the SAP system and then import import R3 load. It imports TP. That's it. So this is what sorry, this slide explains. So wherever you see in the sum, job underscore run underscore phases, all of them, it's a standard notation, which means your SAP UP is starting the background job in the system. Okay, so you can log into the system when this particular phase is running, right? Run underscore UPG. Let's see where we are now. Is there anything running? So if you go to the system, you can see that your jobs are running in the system. Okay. So transport phases. SAP, as I said, SAP UP is a manager. It starts TP to do the following. TP connects to the database and executes an SQL script, SQL or transports. On the same database, if it has to dump thing, most of the, it will use the R3 trans and then it's TP. So, to trigger SAP events or sends an event, RDD IMP DP runs once. Transport steps are processed in the background. You know this RDD IMP DP, right? RDD IMP DP, RDD new. What are they?
These are the jobs which will run in the system when our transport gets imported. These are the background jobs which gets triggered in the system.
Simple. So yes. So the DP means at the end. I don't know about RDDIM, but my logical explanation for DP last and dispatcher. Okay. RDDIMP DP is nothing but it's a transport dispatcher. Okay. What the dispatcher do in our system? A normal dispatcher. Normal dispatcher will allocate the work process.
Distributes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it distributes the work process and which task what to do. So same thing. So this RDTP dispatcher is nothing but it's a control, transport control program or the transport control job, and it will allocate these transports to it distributes basically within the same system who has to do what. Okay. So the naming itself is a transport dispatcher so that you will not forget what it will do. It will simply coordinates or it will ensure that the transports are imported in the system. So RDD, so how frequently you schedule this job in the system?
It's a event.
Frequency.
It's event based.
It's event triggered, right?
Exactly. No, I guess you guys are right. So that's what I wanted to test. When I say how frequently, I thought people will say 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yes. So these are event triggered, and also this RDD IMP DP also can be scheduled for every 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, they schedule it. Okay, 5 to 10 minutes. Suppose if you don't have the frequent transports to your system, then don't schedule it. Okay. Anyway, that's a different topic. Good. So, but at this moment you need to understand that's it. So event triggered, these jobs will be triggered by this SCPUP by calling this TP. Bulk import phases, R3 load, I've explained very clearly. DB independent export and then import, simple. See guys, when somebody asks you some explain me about the upgrade procedure and all, right? So everybody will tell that, extraction, pre-processing and all, fine. I mean, you just give an overview there. But when a person or when a customer will, whoever is asking you the question will be very much impressed when you explain this thing. And it is not tough to explain also. When somebody asks you how the upgrade, okay, there are again, in this one, two concepts you have to explain. If you want to crack it, any tough interview or any SME interview. Because many people know that pre-processing, what step to, they will by heart it or have this thing and they will explain. So two concepts you should be able to be very, very clear and crisp. Okay. Number one, this one, SAP UP. Hey, when you trigger the UI and then SAP UP on the host agent will coordinate it. Okay. SAP UP is the main responsible process. It's just a manager or a coordinator which will talk in three ways to the system, because the entire upgrade has been categorized in three things. One, it has to coordinate with the SAP system, or it has to go with the existing DB and do a transports or the programs or the SQL queries it has to execute. That will be taken care by the TP. And then the main activity, export and import of the use tables, that will be taken care by the R3 load. So SAP UP's responsibility is to coordinate all these three. That's it. Your entire upgrade is explained. Okay, what is happening in your end? So there are thousands of phases. So thousands of phases, SAP UP cannot do all those thousands of phases. So each phase, respective process it calls, and these three will take care of the entire upgrade. Okay, and the second concept is shadow concept, which I will explain. So if you explain that part in a crystal clear manner, that's it. Everyone knows that, okay, this guy has a strong understanding of this upgrade. Okay, so if you know this, then you know. See, now if I tell you job underscore run and run underscore phase, so the moment you see some jobs failing in your during pre-processing in the system, you understand, oh, this has been triggered by the SAP UP and this is coming from your sum tool. Simple. Okay, there is some problem, why these jobs are failing and what is happening, or you get an alert during the pre-processing, then you know where to go and check it very quickly. Okay, that's how you have to have this understanding. Okay, the name itself will tell job underscore or run underscore, both jobs, background jobs, that's it. There's nothing. So these three are very clear. Good. So monitoring the sum activity. Again, so what we are discussing, troubleshooting sum. Okay, I'm just slowly taking to you the how do you troubleshoot in case of issues, or how do you monitor this sum when you are working on an upgrade. That's what I'm, I've collected few slides and I will give you. I don't get into too deep of it, but it definitely will give you a overview. So some UI, current phase or the estimated runtime, that anyway you will get it from the UI. Operating system, see, some UI itself will have a lot of these things. So task list, what it is executing, and the logs, and then help, so many things. So each of these logs, everything, some UI has the top to bottom understanding of what is going on. Okay. And then in the operating system, yes, you may have to run the top command, ps command, ps stat, current log files in the some you evap and then tmp, it will keep placing these temp files. So, and SAP system, what all you can monitor, SM50, SM37. Okay. So, if we are in the system, so let's see if there is something running in the system. So let's see SM50. So something is running. So this is me only. I just logged into the system. So at the moment, I don't think anything is running. Let's see, SM37. So let me not take my user. Okay. So ARV, BC, XMB, and SAP CCM money. These are not our this is some related collector performance, and then these things. No. So or let's see with the keyword job. Let's see if we have something so far. Let me remove the date. RSUPG job, check active jobs. No, so we should wait for that job. Okay, once we have that this thing, somebody has scheduled this job, so let's wait for it. So reorg jobs, and these are all the standard jobs. Okay, so this is how you come and check in the system. Anyway, this is a standard monitor. Let's not spend too much time. active background jobs in the system. It's a monitoring and the sum activity, what we do, and then sum stop. So what do you do if the sum starts? I mean, if it stops. Okay. So this is all clean steps which you have to do. Read the messages from the sum. That's the most important. I mean, the tool itself, as I said, the logs are available. So at that particular phase, you read the error message and then the logs relevant for that error message. So, and then check the most written logs files. So you can check it in the sum directory, ABAP and temp directory. And in the SAP system, if it is running, so SM21 system log, SM37 or cancel jobs, ST11 trace files and ST22 dumps. So all these, they are very common things which we will check it out. So for the database, check the alert database. So in Oracle, it is init.ora. In HANA, what file? So, I mean, database, database logging, which file you will check it?
Trace files, maybe index server.
Yes, yes. Trace files of the index server, or go to the studio and open the logs.
Diagnosis files.
Yes, you will be able to see the, and there also in studio also you have an alert section in which general database monitoring, I mean to say. Go there and see what exactly has written it to it. Okay, simple basic troubleshooting. Good. So now we will talk about a little bit in depth the control flow. I've given you an overview. So SAP UP talks to only a few guys. That is either through SAP system for background jobs or things, or through TP for importing, or through R3 load. That's it, 3 guys. So let's see how these guys will communicate each other. Let's say the external program SAP UP, and then through RFC, it is trying to call a function module in the system. Okay, it will schedule the job, and then if the job has to do something on the database, it will do itself. Okay, and this job also writes to the some ABAP and log directory. Okay, so and this SAP UP, while this job is writing, right, it keeps reading it from these logs. Okay, see, SAP UP read and write to this log directory, and it picks that status and it will show us here. Simple. So that's all. So its task is so its task is to create this SAP UP. It will trigger the job, and then it does job keep writing here the logs, and this UP reads it, and then it will publish the data to us. It is as simple as that. This thing. Okay. So and then there are some naming convention if you want to know. Okay. So there is a just log dot log. If you see the file dot log, RFC login, start and check of the background job name. Okay. So let's see if we have something. So let's see if we see the CD some. Sorry, my mistake. CD some. I mean, just try to understand what logs, the naming conventions of the CD, ABAP. Okay, go here, CD log. Okay, so here you see the dot log, and then some dot SAVs. So they have, some of them has a standard naming conventions. So see, name dot log. So it is like RFC login, start and check of the background job name. Okay, so for example, act UPG, this phase particular log, let's see. Job mandate. So so this is yeah, this is called a subset check batch job by RFC succeeded, and it has seen this is what. So it is communicating to the system. So it is communicating to the system with this job, subset check batch job, and then it is writing it to the this particular file. Okay, so it is basically gives an error. So this log file will be like the system related information. Okay, background job or what it has triggered and what it is running. Okay, and then so .sid, don't confuse, the name is not a transport log file. It can be the background job. I mean the name here. So I mean generally see the transport log data file and co file, how they will be. Can somebody tell me naming convention of the data file? It starts with R.
R
And
for
K.
data file, K for go file, and end with S.
For example, if you take our system, okay, So I mean this system. So R, so data file star 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 dot. What do you mean? SID means ours is EBA, right? So or K file K star 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 whatever it is EBA. This, like this. So this EBA. So this is. So the moment we see this naming convention name.sid means we think that it's a transport file. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here. So in this sum phase, don't get confused that it's a transport file. It is like a job name. Okay. So the job name and log file of the background job. That's what I mean to say. Okay. So this naming convention is not the transport file because the see extension ABA, if you see, you think that, oh, it's a transport file. No. So this naming can be background job what that sum tool has been triggered. Okay. So ELG is nothing but the error logs. E for error, LG for log. You can remember that way. Error logs collected, and SAV is .SAV, dot log and ELG from the previous runs. Okay. So these are the some naming conventions, but you don't have to, for example, let's see this one, SAV file. Let's see what it has. Oh, these are so many things. Okay. So these are the naming convention of these logs, but anyway, you can see these files in the sum tool. So whatever it is, I mean, you will look for this particular phase number whenever you see each of, because even if you don't know this concept also, what you do is basically what is currently running, and you see each of these logs have this thing. So act underscore UPG, suppose you are in the act underscore UPG, you open this particular, I mean, in case of issues, so just do one thing, ACT UPG star, okay, LF minus LTR. Then you can see what all files it is writing at this moment. So the only one file it is writing. Then you read that file, then it will be easy. Okay. For example, check IMPDP. So let's see our RDT call P. See this one. This is the file I am talking. So this is not a transport. Okay. This has started with R. That's why I'm explaining this part. This started with R, and then yeah, number is not there, but this is not the transport. So even though SID has the extension, it's a job. So RDT call up is the job, and that is what we are. I mean, I've been trying to explain. So let's see this one if it has so many files. Yeah. So only one file is available. Like this, you have to see there are a lot of .sv. These are all the job related files. Okay. So just to have, and then the second thing, TP. I mean, how does this TP will communicate to the database? Again, don't go worry. You have this log directory. SAP UP is the manager. So it triggers a TP. Okay. TP will go and calls this R3 trans. Yes, R3 trans will do import into the database. Suppose if it has to read the data files and co-files, it will read R3 trans obviously reads data files and co-files from the trans directory, and it imports to the database. Once it imports, so this R3 trans will write the status of this import phase or the reading to this log directory. Simple. Your SAP AP, I mean SAP UP will get the data from this particular location, and then it will TP also keeps writing. So TP, as soon as SAP UP calls TP starts writing the log, and it calls R3 trans. R3 trans also writing the log, and then your SAP UP, you can see it clearly. So this is the central directory from where your SAP UP is getting the complete picture. Okay, it just calls, and then rest all your process keeps writing to the sum ABAP and log directory. So what we are talking, this log directory. Okay, and then your UP will get the status, and then it will give us into the this particular thing. So SAP UP is just calling these all these files it is displaying here. That is what it is doing. Simple. So, but the trigger is SAP UP is triggering these things. Clear? Good. So yeah, this is a case of event trigger, same concept. I mean RDT IMPDP. See in this case R3 trans. So SAP event triggered RDT IMPDP will call the RDT IMPDP new or whatever the job it needs, and they go and write it to the database, and then again same TP keeps writing over here. This keeps writing into this, and SAP UP gets this status over there. So it's very simple. So I mean these are all the examples. You know, if you are in that particular page, I mean act underscore UPG, tabim underscore UPG in these phases, if you get an error RC code, obviously your RDT, these guys will write into this sum file, and then your EPU reports it. So just examples is, but concept is similar, very again same thing. So TP log files you can find with the SAP UP log files. TP ECO with the ECO extension you can see. TP log files, ULG or ALog or SLog or releases. And R3 trans, you know this. Transport background job files, so on so things. Okay, these are just the log files sections. Okay. So, I mean, this is just an example of how do you analyze this log file. I mean, if you just see it, so here you can see severity to level of log file in SC01, it's an error. Okay, you see that particular error, and then if it gives a hint of go to SC09, whatever it is, you go there and take appropriate action. Okay, so then the third important thing, R3 load. Guys, is it clear? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just talking about how your SAP UP is coordinating with you with the TP or R3 trans. Now let's come to the third. See, background jobs we discussed, and then TP. Now the R3 load. So these are the top three phases. So simple, same. SAP UP again, when it reaches the phase of so and so thing, this export, then it starts the R3 load. R3 load, it has the multiple actions. R3 load, what it will do? It has to export and then import. And it also has to read the data from the upgrade media. Okay, so it will read the, so this is only if you use the DMO option. If not, SWPM, it directly exports and imports to the database. I mean, it creates the export files and you share those export files to the target system and then it will import it. So in case of SAP S4HANA conversion, it reads the data file from the upgrade media or the upgrades, and then it will import to the database. And again, same like your TP or your background job. So this will keep writing it to this directory, and so SAP UP reads it from there, and then it will display as like here. That's it. So it is as simple as like trans directory, guys. So you think of this the log directory as a trans directory. Your SAP UP will call a process. That process keeps writing it over here. So SAP UP will be monitoring this pine. I mean this central location. Okay. So these are the some important so extensions. This all anyway. Whoever has worked into the exports and imports, right? So you should have some understanding. How will be the import file log file? So it will be with the dot/dpr. So statistics log files dot/dst. Okay. So if you see ex means export. Or the export or the import. So if you see this kind of terminologies, so SAP UP starts R3 load for each data package. For example, ex dot so number. And if you see this DPR DST files, which means your R3 load is doing that exports and import thing. Okay, good. So troubleshooting, some guide. So all these things, majority of them. Let's see how our sum is doing. Some utilities. So some parameters. That's okay. Nothing to be changed. Some analysis. No. Process control. I don't think this works in my Mac. Let's see if there is anything running. So background jobs. Okay. So now let's anyway, we'll see the, I'm talking about help. So let's see if there is any troubleshooting section over here, or it should be there in the, troubleshooting. Okay. So yes, when you are doing in your sandbox or the development systems, yes, whether you hit this situation or not, but I would request you to go through all these phases. Okay. All of them in your development and sandbox, because each and every thing, whatever they as guys have given with the evaluating ELG logs or whatever it is, so where to check out, please be comfortable, practice. Okay. There is no shortcut. And even though in your sandbox, if you're not, see, the purpose of sandbox is not only just to trigger with production data, the purpose of your sandbox is the consultants becomes competent to do it in the production. So if you don't practice these things, okay, I will tell you, if you don't practice these things, then at that time, if you hit with one of these in your production, then you will start reading it. And then you don't know, and it is a pressure situation. So believe me, in basis, the more you practice, the more you read, and the more you become practice in the sandbox test and development systems, the more confident you are, and you become a very, very competent when it comes to the upgrades or whatever the activity you're doing. Okay. So there is no shortcut. No matter how many sessions I give, 20% only the theory, remaining 80% will be your practice. And each of these things, you have to go to the system, you have to look to this file, you have to understand what is doing. If you don't understand, then you have a lot of things. I mean, put it in OpenSAP, Google also you will get a lot of things, but these days I don't recommend Google. Okay. So please stand with the SAP's documentation. Stay with SAP. Gone those days where you rely on the Google's recommendation. So all Google's recommendations are for the ERP and that old releases. They are not relevant. Please be careful. So SAP is giving an excellent documentation for everything these days. Okay, it's not what it was earlier. So they see the tool itself have such a nice documentation. So then what else you need? You are running for 24 hours this thing, right? While you are running this pre-processing, why don't you go and look into these things? Evaluate this file, evaluate this file. What is this? Be comfortable. These are all things. Where to check and what. Then you know exactly when you see some error in production, you go to this particular phase and then see error handling in ABAP, maybe for developers. So don't think of that this is not a basis guy, this is not an ABAP guys. See, they will call transaction as that. So go and see everything yourself. Okay. Even though it's your developer who is working on the project, if he is doing the correction, ask him to share the screen. Simple. Because there may be a case that he might be overlooking something and he's activating it, but as a basis, and if you have a concept understanding, you can question it. Hey, are you sure that this is what we are doing? And this is, so it's very, very important, guys, because if this upgrade fails, so who will be the most painful life? I mean, which resources life is more miserable?
This is.
So I know I've built
Always
a DR.
risks.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't say the developers are very good. I mean, some you find very good and they are also not, they also don't want to do intentionally. So, but they are not clear on certain things and the objects and these things are very confusing and then they go and take some action and then that will cause an inconsistency. And yes, and you can imagine the miserable life. So if you are talking about a 7 TB of your database, then, restoring the database and getting that and then get a point in time recovery. Oh God, I can imagine it. And if you have a DR, then that is another pain. Okay, none of it, I mean, it's not a business impact, but still you have to rebuild the DR and you have to get that DR to this particular state. I mean, DR out of sync, right? So you have restored your source system means you have to restore your DR also. So, and then it is not, I mean, like, believe me, basically guys, life will be miserable if something goes wrong. Okay. And you have to be, when I say practice, you have to be comfortable with that also. When you are practicing on the sandbox, so you restore the database. Once you copy to the mock system, right, production, you restore the database and evaluate how much time it is taking. Okay. And document those steps as a remediation steps. Okay. See, every change has things, right? So your remediation plan for the system conversion or any upgrade, I'm telling you, or any activity in basis, your remediation plan, generally people ignore. Okay, they think that, okay, nothing will happen. Even though if you're just changing a parameter also, your remediation plan has to be as strong as your implementation plan. Okay, you should be, in case of your remediation, what all things you should do, that you should have very clear cut. For example, PRV, operational recovery plan. Let's see, I have done one DR. Okay. You look at this, then you will tell me the level of preparation. I'm just giving you an example. I would strongly recommend everyone to do this level of preparation. I'm giving you some examples. See, my project. Okay. So one of the BP project I worked, I was in London, and then in London I worked on, I mean, the activity, it is a very crazy activity. So one weekend, they wanted to switch the production system to the DR data set. Those guys are very crazy because they have never tested. They tested in the, see, you can test theoretically DR. So those guys are saying, hey, what if that time that Middle East is burning? So this BP island gas, right? So these guys are so worried that these terrorist attacks on their oil fields, and then this system, I mean, or their data center, because attacking on oil fields is fine. I mean, because they have a stock of some 1 year, 2 years or stock oil, then they can sell it. But what if the terrorist attacks on my data center? That is their biggest fear, the businesses. Okay, it was Syria war and all are going at the time very badly. Middle East was, I mean, even now it is like that, but those days it was crazy. Like 5 years back, that guy, Obama and all these guys were there. So see, these guys were saying, if my data center crashes, what do I have to do? Because you are giving me theoretically, but I want to understand practically. If it is burns, whether my system comes up on the DR data center or not. So the activity is, I was there for 6 months. The activity was one weekend I have to switch it to the DR data center, the entire application, database, everything, and then start it on the DR data center for 1 week. And after 1 week, I have to switch back to the normal data center. You know, such a crazy activity. There is a clear-cut downtime. So what I'm trying to say is you have to prepare this architecture, system conversion also you should work like this. Okay. You should prepare, you know, preparations. See, even though that day I feel sick, right? If I am not feeling well or you don't know, we are all humans. Okay. That time I should be in a position to guide an L1 guy. I'm telling you, if I give these documents to basic understanding of connecting to the putty and that guy, he should be able to execute this phase. See, I prepare in such a way that check the database and what commands they have to execute. So everything in detail, you know, cron tab -t, see, cron tab -l, you see the commands like this, you have to prepare very, very clearly, and the host also, no confusion. So when you're going to the production, you have to clearly, and preparation steps, screenshots. So because screenshots and all misconfused, but here you have to give them stop communication channels and what you exactly have to do, and each team's responsibility, who is responsible for what. So even though they say that, hey, we are confident and all we will do, no, you ask them, functional guy, give me this thing. Okay, give me exactly what you are going to do. Simple. Whether that fellow is there or not, but if somebody else has some, because to avoid these communication gaps and stuff. Okay, so this is how you have to, suppose when what I'm talking is functional check. Where is my remediation plan? Where did I put it? Somewhere I would have put. Okay, these are all appendix, failover from BRVDR to primary. Yes, I would have mentioned in the cutover plan. So your remediation steps also as clear as what I'm talking. Okay, so as clear as you know, each and every line you should talk about it. Okay, so if you take any project, when you are working with migration in the sandbox, that is the whole objective of sandbox case, believe me. So you have to be very, very precise and clear. Okay, and in the troubleshooting also, when you did fix the issue, and then you should talk in your implementation plan very clearly explaining that a L1 guy can understand that. So the more you prepare, the more you document, you will become much more confident. And moreover, see, our memory, suppose today you might be remembering this transaction codes and all. Believe me, when I'm working with this P1 incident or very critical incident, I will struggle to remember this BD64, this basic transaction codes, because you will be under pressure. So that is why you be prepared and ready with your document. No harm. I mean, in your client also, even if you're seeing the, you know, open the Excel. Okay, these are the checks, and you will be more impressed. Oh, this guy is going in a very organized way. So he's checking so and so thing, and he also feels happy that you are not checking something random. Okay. So preparation. So that is why I'm talking. So this troubleshooting also the same. Understand the basics, and then you start documenting what is my remediation, what if it fails, what action I have to take. So those things also should be very, very, very clear with that. Okay. So with this, the basic understanding of SAP UP, we will take 10 minutes break, and then we will get back to this DMO, because this is also an interesting topic. So if you understand this topic, then I think we are good with the sum. Yes, we have some other things like how do we manage landscape, and somebody has asked how to download the Excel and stuff. So I will show you those things. But this is also, this is the important topic which is pending in our sum with the DMO option. And don't confuse with any other options, so like landscape transformation, data optimized, and all this theory, and SAP wants to make money from the customers. So they just tweak little bit, and some 4 or 5 tables they do it, and they will tell that, okay, these are we will reduce the downtime 1 hour, 2 hours or something. But if you ask me, that also will take the same time as DMO. Okay, I mean, with the impact and live impact and stuff. Okay, there's nothing much they are also gaining. Still they are experimenting. Okay, so if you are, but all of them are with the more or less a similar concept. Yeah, database migration option in some, I mean, what it will do, and but it is the same with normal some also, creation of shadow instance. Some parts are similar, some parts are a little bit different in this option. Okay, see this slide, I mean, the same concepts which I explained you many times, like 1-step approach, 2 steps. So I don't want to spend too much time over here. You have an ECC 6.0, and it is on the ABAP 700. Source DB is something different example, and you want to move to the target. ECC 607 and HANA DB. So one step approach is this. First you update it. I told you, in order to run in a HANA, what is the prerequisite? EHP 7. I told you, right? So for HANA database to run, minimum you have to be in the EHP 7. Okay, you see the screen. Follow my mouse. Okay, so 600 to 601 approach. Either you go to HANA. So classical, first you update using some tool to EHP 7, and then ABAP 740 and source DB. If there is any Unicode conversion, do the Unicode conversion, and then migrate, means SWPM. So two tools are used, and then update, and then these all things you have to do. If you want to move from the Oracle to the HANA database to this level, if you are at a lower level, this is the thing you have to do. Okay. Now, DMO, Unicode conversion plus upgrade, sorry, Unicode conversion, forget about it. Upgrade plus DB migration. So these two things, 1 and 3, are combined in only one step. That's it. So you can move from 600 to the 607 HANA DB directly using the DMO. Simple. So that's the concept. Or if you are moving from the EHP 7, any database to EHP 7, EHP 6 or EHP 7 to directly to SAP S4 HANA using the DMO with this SUM. Okay, that's the thing. Advantage of SUM, having the advantages of SUM, or I think I have documented some examples, advantages. That's it. So DMO provides the following benefits. Just try to a combined procedure that we know. Reduced business downtime because you don't have to run two projects. So here project 1, project 2. So because update is one project and migration is another project. So that you get rid of it. So less regression tests necessary because in one shot you involve your functional developers, everybody, and in tests and all you can close it. Or else two projects again, two kind of regression test and all. So stable application server and system ID due to in-place migration, because on one server and one target, the same server you will do the PaaS and PaaS server you use for the conversion, it is stable. Okay. So original database is kept and can be as a fallback mechanism. So this anyway is applicable, but reduce risk and no restores required basically. More time for testing before the tower. So these are the advantages of DMO. So these are all comes in as a part of, because you don't have to run two projects. So many advantages will be like that. So now the starting the DMO procedure. Okay. Now let's say that we are running, what happened, man? This is going very fast. Oh, this is in the activate above phase. It is at 66%, but overall it is 32 only. Okay. See, we ran this sum tool with the DMO option, database migration, because we are migrating from the ERP to SAP HANA database. Conversion also we are doing. It is nothing but an upgrade kind of thing. Upgrade and conversion, database export import we are doing. The DMO option. So what happens when? So one thing is, please try to understand. See the ones with this yellow background, right? Light yellow. So let me put the another slide and explain. Legend. So all the next 5 to 10 screens, please understand the legend first. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, wherever you see the light yellow, which is the source system, source related. Okay. Because ERP, EHP 6 in our case. Okay. Whatever the target, SAP S4HANA 2020. Okay. Remember that this legend you follow in all the screens, so that the concept will be very clear to you. Simple, by following the screens itself. So yellow, light yellow and dark yellow. Source light yellow, dark yellow is the target release. Simple. Good. So now the moment sum is started, so where you are starting it, obviously then there is no confusion. You follow the legend, so you don't have any confusion that what activity is being done where and which repository or which DVD it is using. There is no confusion. Okay, just follow the slides. With the legend. So you see all are light yellow. Light yellow, which means source. So the moment you started this sum, so it is using the primary application server of production instance source. Okay, this belongs to the source, and then sum tool you have put it over on the sum primary application server host, and sum is started. So production repo you will be having a repo. Production repo is nothing but database tables and standard objects, standard tables, etc. And then application data. So which is like a client specific data and client specific data, if I have to put it in a very clear. So application data. Okay. So this is the source DB host. This is the target DB host. Clear? So just sum started where you are starting the sum on the primary application server of the source system. Simple. There is no confusion. So where so now in our case also we have started on the source system. We started the sum on the primary application server of source. Clear. Now, next question. Next, uptime processing, which is nothing but the phase which we are in. Uptime, configuration, checks, pre-processing. So the execution is the technical downtime where exactly the, actual system is completely goes down in the execution phase. What we are talking is these first 4 steps. So execution, configuration, checks and preparation, pre-checks, pre-processing. Okay. So what happens? Again, please place an legend. Source system, yes, your primary application server, and then you have the production repository and then application data. Okay. So in the uptime, shadow system is created. Okay. So where is the shadow system is creating? Shadow instance. Can you see? Instance. System I am talking. Source. Okay. I will come back to your question, Sagar. Okay. Shadow and target. Okay. For now, understand that. So you have a primary application server. In our case, it's a 00 instance number, ABA. So in our case, shadow instance with the what do we call 02 as the instance number, where it has created on our source server itself. Okay. So for some 2.0 SP08 and higher, the shadow repository, okay, don't get with this word repository, is created on the all target databases for all migration scenarios. I will talk to you. What do they mean by the shadow repository? For now, you understand that instance is different, shadow repository is different, Sagar. Okay. So instance is nothing but an application server. It's as simple as that. Yep. Instance is an application server. A repository is something like database related. Okay. So here we are talking about where this shadow instance is running. It is running on the source only. Okay. Instance means it's a system, application server. Okay. So now, so the target kernel, you have this, and target repository. Do we have any other slide in between? No. Target repository and then production repository and then the application data. What it is doing? After some basic configuration settings, such as checking the stack XML, in the initial screen, the SAP will start to create this shadow system. The shadow system consists of a shadow repository and then a shadow instance. Okay. Shadow instance is nothing but your application, which is on the source, and there is a shadow repository where the table, like a database, if you ask me. Database, shadow repository is nothing but a shadow database. Where it creates it, we will discuss it. Since 2.0 and SP08, the shadow repository is created on the target. Okay, target the data shadow repository or the shadow tables will be created on the target database. Okay, it contains the basic tables and all whatever it is. Leave it. So standard tables or whatever comes with the DVD, it will have it. Okay, changes on the production repository are no longer allowed as they would not be considered as the shadow repository. Okay, this is why in this phase the system is running and available for end users, but development environment is locked. Okay, the shadow instance is running on the primary host. Please have this in mind, and is based on the shadow kernel. Okay, shadow kernel. The shadow kernel is the kernel for the source database, but not for the target database. Okay, so what did they mean? Wait, hold on. Do we have this? Okay. How do I start this thing? Okay, let me talk about the next. No, next thing has gone directly there. Where did they put this shadow repository? Once again, this. Well, there should be one slide where we are talking about the shadow repository. No. Okay. So here actually it should have one shadow repository like this. Like you have this target rep, right? You see this one. So target repository. So like that you should have the shadow repository. Okay, good. So now I think then they're calling the term itself as a target repository. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I got confused with the traditional one. Okay, naming. Good. So see, follow this, guys. So this is the primary application server. Obviously, it has the source kernel. Okay. These targets ones are the dark yellow ones are the target related. Okay. Shadow kernel, and then the target kernel, and then the target repository. Okay. See, in the uptime phase, okay, what it is going to do is it will create a shadow instance. Instance is nothing but an application server on the same host, primary application host. Okay. But this shadow instance will communicate to the target repository. Getting my point? I mean, not to this production repository or this one. Okay. Clear? Hello?
Yeah, clear.
Yes.
Yeah. See, this shadow instance, what it will do is it is on the primary host. It will take the data using the shadow kernel from this particular source DB host, and then it will keep it to the target repository, which is nothing but you can call it as a shadow repository. So I mean target repository, and then it keeps placing it over here. That's it. So what it will do is shadow instance. It will take the copy of, follow my mouse, copy of this production repository, and then using the target kernel. Okay. Okay. Now the first question. Shadow instance. Follow me, guys, carefully. See, primary application server, production repo is available, application data is available, it is running as it is. There is no issue with the end user or anything. Okay. So during the uptime, it has created a shadow instance, which is nothing but it has created another application server over here. Okay. What that application server is doing is it is talking to the source database. Okay. Source database using the shadow kernel. Okay, because it needs a kernel also, right? Shadow instance needs a kernel, which means R3 load and those sorts of things, R3 kernel. See, the source system has a source kernel, primary application. So that is up and running and the system is using it, leave it. Now, shadow instance needs a kernel to communicate to this existing source database, which is shadow kernel. Okay, what is this shadow kernel? I will talk to you, leave it. Now, the shadow instance using the shadow kernel, okay, it is picking the data from your source database, okay, and it is writing it to the target database. Is that clear? Using the target kernel, because R3 load or the R3 transfer, these programs are available with the kernel. Okay, shadow instance uses the shadow kernel to read this, and then it places to the target database using this target kernel. Okay, can somebody tell me, is this shadow kernel equivalent to the source kernel?
It should be, I think.
And what is this target kernel? Is this equivalent to the target? Please. So this part is clear. See, you have a primary application server, database. See, if you understand this concept, that's it. We are done with this topic. Okay. So you have the primary application server, source kernel. I mean, whatever kernel you have existingly in your ERP system, fine, leave it. So it is using the source database, absolutely running fine, no issues, nothing. There is no disturbance to it. Okay. That's why uptime, we say there is no business impact. There is no problem with that. Let's leave this topic at all. So this light yellow color, light yellow background, like source kernel, prod repo application. So this section is fine, uptime. Now, during this uptime, this sum tool has created a shadow instance on the same host, I mean primary application server host, a copy of this PAS or similar to that shadow instance. This is doing your actual upgrade activity, parallel activity. So it is taking the data or the repository using this part, another kernel, not the source kernel. Please focus on it. So suppose if it is using the source kernel, then it will impact your thing. It's not using your source at all. So, I mean, it doesn't work also. Believe me. Even if you try if you copy the same kernel and place it over there, it doesn't work. It is using a different kernel. Shadow instance has its own kernel. Shadow kernel for the source one kernel and target another kernel. So two kernels it uses. Okay. For reading it from the source, it uses one kernel. For putting it onto the target, it uses another kernel. Okay. Can you tell me what is the shadow kernel? Yes, target kernel, you can say very clearly that. So I am moving to the SAP S/4HANA, right? So you will pick an SAP S/4HANA 2020, I mean HANA data, because kernel is what? DB independent and DB dependent files will be there. You know that, right? Kernel. Okay. So HANA dependent and then S/4HANA 2020 version related kernel, you will use it, target kernel. There is no confusion on the target kernel. Okay. But what is the shadow kernel? what version you are using it, I mean, how you decide this shadow kernel. This part is fine, light yellow, there is no confusion there. Are you following what I'm asking?
Yes.
Okay.
While choosing the maintenance tenor for DMO, we'll be choosing two kernels. One is for source database and another one is for target database.
Mm-hmm.
The source database kernel will be used for this export while taking this repository, like creating this repository. That is the shadow kernel maybe, and after there's one kernel switch will happen during the downtime.
Okay, so now let me get, yes, I'll get back to that, Abhira. Okay, now the question is, first thing, understand it. For example, our source database is Sybase, right? And you are on the EHP6, right? Suppose if I ask you to move it to EHP7, how do you download the kernel? Tell me. What all things you consider to download EHP7? See, you go to the service marketplace, right? So you will pick the EHP7 compatible or the target release compatible kernel or not. Is that clear? I mean,
Yes.
right? So, and you will select as per, suppose if you are doing a migration. So, okay, first let's talk about the upgrade. You are moving EHP6 to EHP7. So what kernel you are taking? You will take the 750 version or whatever it is, EHP7 compatible kernel, and then you will use that kernel, right? For the kernel for the target release. Okay. Second thing, if you are migrating from the Sybase to HANA, okay, forget about conversion. Sybase to HANA. So how do you select the kernel? You go to the system, okay. Again, target version, I mean EHP7 or whatever it is compatible version, you will evaluate, and that you select DB HANA dependent kernel, right? So DB dependent. I mean, you will download the HANA dependent or DB2 or database dependent kernel file you will take, right? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now this shadow kernel is nothing but, okay, now you follow me carefully. This shadow kernel is nothing but, this is for the target database, sorry, target version. Okay, for example, if it is EHP8, DMO can, I mean, don't think that DMO is only for S/4HANA conversion. You can use update plus migration also. So this shadow kernel is nothing but, it is the DB dependent file is of the Sybase in our case, okay, but for the target release, okay. See, it is not, your source is on EHP6. If you say your target is EHP8, so your shadow kernel will be EHP8 compatible with the
Of Sybase.
of Sybase, EHP8 compatible of the Sybase database. Okay, so that is the, so here what is your source kernel? It is the EHP6 compatible of the source Sybase database. Okay, so that is what is the shadow kernel. So I mean, if you understand this, then I think we are done. Okay, so okay, let me repeat it. So you have uptime shadow system creation. What happens exactly? So you have this primary application server where you have your source kernel of EHP6 or whatever the version you have with Sybase database. Fine. Everything is running fine, and this light yellow source, everything good. Now, shadow instance is created. Where it is getting created? It's like an application server on the primary application server. But it is writing the shadow repository. Repository is nothing but database. So it writes in the database. It is writing to the target host, target DB host. Okay. So but first thing, before it is writing, it has to read from somewhere, right? It is reading from this production repository and it is writing to the target repository. Okay. While it is reading, I mean, reading means it needs kernel, because SAP ECC is a dump, or the shadow instance it needs tools to copy. So it needs a kernel. Kernel means R3 load or whatever it is. So this kernel has to be for the Sybase database of target release, whatever you are going. Okay, that is how it reads that database, I mean that data, and then it writes to this using the target kernel. Target kernel is nothing but whatever the version you are going. It's very clear, you know, if it is S/4HANA so and so or EHP8 or that version. So that kernel. So two kernels are involved over here. Okay, two different kernels. Okay, but anyway, so maintenance planner or the whatever, when you are doing that, that will download all these compatible versions of these kernels. So it's just that you have to press next. So I mean, but still, this is the concept of shadow system. Simple. If you understand this, then there's nothing you need to understand in this topic. Okay. Now, any questions before I move? Clear for all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Now, the next part, downtime. So what I'm pre-processing. So this is, wait, what happened? This one. So this. So, okay. So we talked about extraction, configuration, checks and pre-processing phase. That is what happens. Shadow instance gets created. It reads the data from source and it writes to the target database. Let's keep it that way at the moment. I mean, certain tables. Then the downtime comes, execution phase. What exactly it will do in this phase? And why do you need downtime first of all? Anyway, we will discuss it when downtime topic comes. Okay. Why, what all activities are online or what all activities are downtime relevant activities, that we will talk in the next module. I prepared one module. Okay, that is also important for us to understand what is downtime first of all. Okay, and why we have to do these activities whole days and days. Why can't we do like Google's applications or something, right? They don't need downtime. In fraction of seconds it will do. Why SAP is so bad? I mean, they're taking hours and hours of downtime. Okay, that we will discuss. Leave it aside. Now, the second important aspect, downtime. So during the technical downtime, when some tool takes this system down, okay, what exactly it is doing? Okay, see, let's read the text first, all of you. Now the application, then I get back, I will explain. Now the application tables have to be migrated during the downtime. So the system has to be shut down to prevent the changes on the application table. The downtime migration is executed in which the target kernel is used. In addition, it is the kernel for the new database, for example, SAP HANA database, and for the target release. See, the terms, please be careful. I'm very specifically mentioned over here. Okay. For the migration of the application data, two R3 load processes are running in parallel, 1 and 2. Two R3 load processes will be running in parallel. The first R3 load follows the shadow kernel, okay, of the shadow kernel, exports the data. Application data means I'm talking about client dependent data. So to make it as simple as possible, 100 client or 200 client, whatever is it. Client, just for understanding, there are other things also will be there, but yes, client dependent data or the customizing data, just think that way. Application data using the shadow kernel, the shadow instance will pick that. I mean, two R3 loads I said. One is reading, exporting. So what does that export means? DB independent format it exports, and then R3 load, one more R3 load which will be working on the target database. It takes this application data and it writes it over here. Clear? So this is what it is happening over here. Okay. Okay. Now my question. Okay. Your shadow instance is running over here. Uptime. I'm going back to the uptime again. Okay. Please read my this thing. Question. Carefully understand my question. You are running your shadow instance is running on the shadow instance. Okay. Reading it. Repository. We are talking in this case only repository. So we are not talking about uptime means. See, we are in uptime. Shadow system is created. It is reading the production repository and then it is placing it into the target data repository. Yes, perfect. So what happened to, suppose it has copied some 20% of the repository, but you have imported some transport to the system and something has changed in the already expanded, already done that one. So then how does it deals with that situation? You getting my point? See, you are copying the repository from here to the target. In that process, if there are any changes in this production repository, or if there is any transport or anything, code development or modification or enhancement, you pushed it to the production repository. How does your shadow instance deals with that situation? You
But
getting my point?
we have logged the developments, right, already. So
Exactly,
why there will be any changes?
Exactly. That is where I'm saying. So the moment you say in the tool, you remember we have logged the development, right? The moment you say you log the development, because shadow instance is not a Superman. So it will take it in a sequential way and or a parallel way or whatever it is, it keeps dumping, it's like copy paste. Take it and put it over there. So if you do any changes over here, then definitely you lose those things. That is why we log the development. Okay. because the repo means nothing but your standard objects, standard modifications, or these things, enhancements, whatever is in the system. So you cannot able to, while your shadow is creating it, you will not be able to import. You should not be doing anything. So that is why that is the phase, important phase, why you lock the development. Everybody understood why we are locking the development environment, even though it is uptime, even though your end user system is stating that it is up and running. So why we lock the development environment is because your shadow instance is copying the standard tables and standard structures from your source to the target. So during that phase, if you make any of these changes in this thing, then those will be lost in the target. Okay. So that is the reason why we are locking the development environment. Okay. So now, so during this phase only, it has asked us the modification adjustments. Okay. I'm coming to your question, Sagar, in the morning. So why we didn't have this application data means, so it is still in this phase. It is copying this production repo to the target repo, only standard objects and standard. That is when it is realized that, hey, there are some objects which has to be modified. So SPDD adjustments have done. Now we have done the SPDD. Now the shadow has understood that, oh, good, my repo is consistent, development is locked, no changes are coming, and I am happy to go ahead and complete this thing, create this as the target version repo. Okay. Now the second thing, it will come to the downtime. What exactly it will do in the downtime? Simple. Shadow instance will have again two R3 load process. One is to export, one is to import. So yes, application tables. Okay. Why do we need a downtime for the application tables? Because why can't we do it in the uptime, this application data?
Data entries.
Users will be
Exactly.
changing the.
Yeah. So if your system is up means, so our user dialog background, so many things, interfaces keep pushing the data, so it is keep on changing, same problem. Like, so see, in this phase you just need a development lock that should be sufficient to copy this production report. That's why it is not in the downtime. Okay. So in a single system conversion, I mean, now we don't have it. In a single system conversion, what happens is this also happens in the downtime, this also happens in the downtime. That is the only difference. Okay. So application data, production repo, everything happens in the downtime only. That is why the downtime is more for the single system. So it takes down the system, ensure that to take the dump and put it over there. That's it. That's why if you understand only this concept, that is more than sufficient to understand all this migration or the conversion, these topics. Fine. Let's keep that way. Single system thing. Now, so it's just that for the copying this production repository, I mean standard objects and stuff, you don't need to down the entire system. Just a development lock is sufficient. That's what they sought, and then they have segregated the tab and thing, and they put it in the uptime activities. Okay, good. So target thing also, it just copies the application data and it will place it into the target host. This is what it is happening in the entire your pre-processing phase and the execution phase. There's nothing different. Okay, so just try to just understand what is shadow kernel and target kernel. That's it. Target kernel is very simple. So it's the target database and target release. Shadow kernel is target release, but for the source database. Okay, that's the only tricky point here to catch. Okay, clear? So that's why your pass here you can see it is in the red color. So red color means it is a downtime. So end users will not be able to access your system, and that's when this is the phase. Any questions, guys? Before I move.
I have a small question. I understood the concept of shadow kernel. It's of target release and compatible with
Yes.
whatever it is.
Totally.
So if there is already a target kernel as well. So
Mm.
shadow kernel will tell the target kernel to put the repo there, or it directly connects to target DB. I don't know. I'm clear or not.
No. Can you repeat it?
Yes. So here the shadow system will use the shadow kernel to get this current repo and put it in the target.
Yes.
So put it in the target. So it uses the shadow kernel or it uses the target kernel?
It's target kernel. Can you see here?
Target kernel. Okay. So shadow kernel will take and target kernel will.
Yes. Yeah. So and who will tell that to you take this import and you import it? Who will tell that to them? Who is coordinating it? See. See. Okay.
SAP
Who?
up.
Yes. So see. So here one R3, two R3 load processes. One is taking the export and one is importing. Yes. During the import, definitely see this R3 load is from the shadow kernel. Okay.
Okay.
Because R3 load is part of kernel. So
Yes.
and then So this R3 load is
Load
this
is
one.
from target kernel,
Yes.
yes.
So this UP, this SAP uptime, sorry, this SAP UP process, this is the one who is coordinating. Okay, hey, I'm taking an export. Hey, go this shadow kernel and this, you go and trigger it. That's it. So it keep exporting. And where does it place? I mean, I'll talk about it. How does the file transfer and everything happens? I will talk about it later.
Okay.
So once that export is completed, whatever the file transfer mechanism you have it, SAP UP will, because it dump means, so you see export dump only. See, R3 load will create these dump files, right? Export dump files. So export dump files will have a log and it says it is finished. So as soon as it is finished, then SAP UP will read that directly and it will tell that, hey, target R3 load, go and import it. Okay. So then it will be keep on coordinating between these two. As soon as whatever is completed, so it will keep communicating with the target R3 load. You go and keep importing it. That's it. So these are all guys. So this R3 load, it's a parallel processing, right? Export also parallel, import also parallel. You remember in our configuration phase we have defined how many uptime, downtime processes.
Downtime and
Downtime and uptime process, because we are in downtime. So downtime we defined 40 processes, if you remember. So which means the entire system is down and let's use everything whatever is available for me to export and import. Okay. So these 40 processes will keep fetching and keep putting it to the target database. Okay. That is the concept. So now what happens in the downtime? This is what exactly happens in the downtime. After the downtime, yeah, follow. See, these guys has put wrong. This one should be the target dark yellow. Okay. This one next time I will edit this. See, it's a target kernel, right? Target is the legend should be the target. This one, right? Getting my point. So I mean dark yellow. So see now what happens is your shadow will be deleted in post processing. Okay. Target kernel. This is the kernel switch. Somebody was telling Abira or somebody, right? So the kernel switch has happened. Now you don't have the shadow. You don't have anything. Only sum is there. So now you have the, because your application data is completely moved to the target. Okay. Now use the latest kernel, target kernel and target repository, and then application data. You already have it in the target DB host. That's it. Okay. This is the kernel switch phase in the downtime. This also happens in the downtime. Got it? Clear?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. This is what happens. Next slide is correct. Okay. Yeah. This is how it should look actually in the previous slide also. See, in the previous slide also, so the target kernel and then some, target kernel here and then target repo, target application data. See everything in dark yellow, which is nothing but your system is completely converted. You have the application tables, repo, everything is in the target DB host. So now shadow instance is everything is deleted. So now this primary application server host, right? Okay. So with which it will be communicating? Your source database or target database?
Target
So,
database.
Target.
yes. So now that's it. So your existing primary application server host will act as an application server for the target database. That's it. So you have converted. Simple. So see, when we started this thing, so your primary application server with the source kernel, it is communicating to the source DB host. By the end of the procedure, it has become like this. So it has switched primary application server with the target kernel. It is communicating to the target database. That's it. So the primary pass has become a new systems pass. That's it. Is this clear, guys? This 4 slides, that's it. You're done. I mean, if you understand it, then there's nothing much we can discuss on this topic. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Maybe I have a question on the downtime. So I can see that the downtime is purely dependent on the application data. So if our database is huge, like more than 10 TB takes more hours and lesser database size uses. So any like for example from your experience, so for example
So,
7 TB takes this much time or 10 TB
yep.
takes.
So yeah, can we park it for some time?
Sure. Yeah.
In the downtime, I have documented certain scenarios. Once we have that concept very clear, then we will assess the downtime, this thing, how long
Okay.
and stuff. Okay. So, I mean, after that module, it will be much more easier to explain. Good. So yes, just remind me, I will explain you over there. Or in that process only, that will answer your question.
Okay.
Okay, like this one has answered Sagar's question. Sagar, do you have any question on this? Now clear, right? Morning, whatever you ask.
Yeah, it's clear for me now.
Okay, good. So yeah, this file transfer things, guys. So in traditional export import, how this is nothing but a traditional export import. So how it happens? Suppose if I ask you to move from the Sybase database to HANA database or Oracle database, what do you do? SWPM, export import.
Yeah, yes.
Simple, right? See, you just do an export and then import it on the target. Okay, that way. So initially, you will create R3 load will create the files and it will place it in a mount that export dump we call, right? It will place it in the some directory or the mount. So you have to mount it on the target server and run this SWPM for the import. Clear? Any questions, guys? See here, simple. Same. This is nothing but this slide is nothing but you have a source DB and then you have a target DB, right? So when you do an export in SWPM, you select the source DB export, right? What it will do? It will create the export files or the export dumps on the specified location, whatever you have mentioned. So it can be a NAS filer or SAP MNT or whatever it is. Okay. It will write the dump files. So what you have to do, target server, when you're doing an import, again run the SWPM on the target database host or a target application server host, and then select the import option in SWPM, and then it will ask you path. Where are your export files? Where is my export files? And you give the path. So what you have to do? You have to mount from the source server to the target server, that file system. Okay. Or you should copy those files from there to there, whatever mechanism you want. Okay. So, I mean, SSH or whatever it is, you copy those export directory to the target and then you have to give the export. That's it. Using those export files, it will import. It's as simple as that. Clear?
Yes.
So it's a similar. No. Silent means did you guys understand or not understand?
Yes, we understand.
So okay. So it's so simple. So this is normal export import method. This is one classical migration file mode. See, the another one is socket mode. So compress data and transfer via network. So it is as if like in your colleges, have you used these hub connections? Like all our in the same LAN. I don't know in your college you have it. In my college we used to have it. So you don't need network. I mean, sorry, you don't need what you call Wi-Fi or anything.
Intranet.
Intranet. So you
You
just
mean
connect.
voice over internet protocol?
No,
VoIP?
Intranet, I think it's.
Via cable.
Yes, via cable we collect all. If one has one software, we can take from his computer and
Yes,
we can
yes.
install.
We will download movies, everything, you know.
Yeah, mainly used for movies.
we used to have this hub, Bollywood hub, Hollywood hub. So,
Yes.
so that kind of hub. So this is nothing but socket mode is nothing but one is connected to the another, and then you can transfer the files. Okay, such kind of transfer mode. This one, R3 load with socket mode used by SWPM. So the third option is the memory pipe. So this is the one which memory. This is what our DMO uses. Okay, so it's a memory pipe concept. So which means it has the same primary application server host. Okay, and then you have this R3 load and then the source DB. So like your existing application server, how it is connecting to the source DB, right? I mean through memory, it has the RAM and then it has a connection between this application server and the database. So I mean the ports, everything has been already opened. So then it just copies. I mean your memory in memory or whatever the RAM or CPUs, right? They are the ones who will do the copy to the source DB. Same concept. So here you are using the same primary application server for both the cases, right? After downtime, it becomes the target religious primary application server. So the same way how the primary current system, your application server is communicating to your database, same way your application server communicates to the target database. It's as simple as that. So it's a beautiful concept. See, right? I mean, see, instead of this, all these file transfer protocols and all these sockets and all, they have literally came up with very nice, I would say, this is very good. Okay. I mean, similar way, the way you connect to your source database, you just establish the ports and everything to the target, then your RAM will take care of it. I mean, the server will take care of writing to the target DB. That's it. They have used that concept. That is the memory pipe concept we call. That is very good. I mean, that is what the DMO is using. Okay. So, any questions, guys?
No.
Before I, so then if this part is clear, so module 8.
Nishant, Maybe quickly I go back to the previous topic again about shadow instance. So I have a little clarity, but I would like to clarify from you that shadow instance, you said application data will be transferred to transferred only during the downtime, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
what is it exactly getting copied to shadow instance? Okay, we are doing SPDD and we are already seeing the target version in the shadow instance when you see system status. So what is it exactly going to shadow then, if not application data?
So shadow, it is going production repository, which means your data dictionary objects, okay, your standard structures, okay, repository. I mean, all the 000 content, I would say. If I have to
Okay.
tell you in a simple word, 000 content, which is applicable for the entire system, right? For example,
Okay.
SSD data, what all clients existing in your systems, or a T000 data, components related standard objects. You get it? So that is the standard repository. The moment you install a fresh vanilla installation system, right, in 000, what all things, whatever comes with the basic, because SAP needs that SAP screen like SAP GUI. When you moment you log in, you have that slides and all these things, right? See, production repository means nothing but these are the things. For example, this framework. See, the screen has come right to you.
Right.
What is SAP Easy Access, these buttons and all? What is it? These are all the repository. I mean, for the system, right? This is standard, irrespective of your client or whatever it is, right? So this is called the standard objects or standard repository or the production repository, system repository, which is part of this system. Okay, and SAP objects also, like you have the components, right? System status components. Okay.
Right.
See, what it has done is, see, this framework, let's take this as example. This framework, or someone, you would have modified this framework. You can put a screenshot over here. You know that, right?
Right.
Here you can put your Airbus or whatever it is. Or people would have done the changes to these system components. Okay. Okay. What happens in the shadow repository copy is, it is comparing, sorry, where is the screen? Yes, please. Open, closed. No problem. So it is comparing ERP's standard, this one, the way it looks and the way it has those objects or components with the target. Okay. So in the target, if the similar screens or similar, obviously it has its own standard things. I mean, when you are moving from here to see, look and feel also will change, right? I mean, just giving an example. Okay. Look and feel of your screens and buttons, programs, standard programs, for example, the standard jobs, they would have introduced some HANA related jobs over there. All these things will be changing over there. Okay. These standard things SAP will take care anyway. Okay. In SAP S/4HANA, it is somehow it is like that. But if there are any customizations you have done in the source system, right, to the standard objects, I mean, you have tweaked the look and feel of so and so object. So those things are reporting in your, that is what is modification. So those things are being reported. So what it will do, some tool immediately, it will compare this source with the target version components. Oh, so and so things have been modified. Hey guys, that is when it is asking for the SPDD. Okay. So the shadow is doing only the standard objects modification or standard things basically. Okay. Which are part of 000 by default as a the clear structures and the table definitions, whatever is available. Okay. So those things will be copied there. Okay. Application data is nothing but your customer data. I mean, your USR01, USR tables, right? Right. I mean, what is the data you are putting into those standard tables? There are some tables standard. So whatever the things you are putting into those tables is the, that is what is the application data. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and if you still want it, one second, documents, desktop, no, documents, JD5, so SWOT, ZaranTech, TCS. Oh, again, I have to see, man, which module I have discussed this topic. Okay. I will explain you tomorrow. Is that fine?
Yeah.
I will get the PPT.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's fine.
what is exactly this standard repository? I mean, I will show you in slide, then you will get much more clarity. Okay. I will explain you what all things covered in the standard repo or the production repo, and what is application data, and that there is a nice beautiful slide. I mean, in the initial ADM 100, it will be there, the topic. Go to the client, if you have that ADM 100, go to the phase client data or the cross customizing data. There you will see a beautiful slide. Okay, there is a 2 bricks bottom and 1 brick up. It says customization. I will explain you tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
I will bring that slide and I will explain you. Okay. Good. So this is about the sum execution part. So with this, we are done with the theory part of this sum, at least the tool point of view. So now the another important thing will come to, someone has asked me about the downtime. We will discuss about the downtime. I mean, the concept of downtime. How do you assess the how many hours of downtime you need? And then by the time this module is discussed, so you will have some clear understanding of what is this downtime and better understanding, I would say. Let's see. So now, okay, this slide. Now we are in which step? Fifth step we discussed, perform the execution, DMO option, and then the conversion related topics, all of them have been discussed. Now we are talking about the downtime assessment, how long we need the downtime and what all things you need to consider before you do the downtime for the system. Okay. Okay. So try to follow this slide. Okay. Let me put in big screen. See, standard conversion if you take, okay, see this is our roadmap steps, some uptime processing, and then we do ramp down. So you call the same ramp down and ramp up only, right, in your system. So for example, if you're taking down your ERP system, what all things you do? Basic things. During a planned maintenance, I mean, what things you consider before you take down your system? Hello, do you have any steps or you just restart it? No, in your company,
Are we talking about planned downtime?
Yes, planned downtime. What all things do you guys consider planned maintenance or planned downtime activities?
We put the system in maintenance mode in solution manager so that the alerts won't be triggered.
Okay. Next. That's it. Then you
perform the operation, I guess. Based on what is needed, those prerequisites will be followed.
Okay. Let's say I just ask you to change the parameter and restart the system. Okay, that's it. You go ahead and you restart the system and there's no extra steps. Okay. So, but this is not the same case for many customers. So see, there is a ramp down and ramp up procedure during the build we have to define. When you are during a maintenance activity, what all steps you have to do. For example, if I have an ERP system, that will communicate to the SCM, that will communicate to the PI, right? PI will take the data from the ERP and then it will pass us to the end users. Suppose if your ERP system is down, then your PI doesn't know that your ERP is down, right? It will try to communicate it, and then it starts throwing errors to the end users or in the PI system, right? So because PI is the mediator. So then it keeps on piling up, server not available. You go to these logs SM60, what is that key code, man? SM52, transactional, QRFCs, inbound and outbound queues, right? You go and check the outbound queues and all of them get stuck because of this transactional RFCs also. They get stuck because your source system is not available and your PI will be overflowing with the error messages and that will intimate the entire world. Okay, that is one example I'm giving, stating that this is not a, so suppose if you have a configuration in Solman in such a way that the moment you set this system in maintenance mode, if it sets to all the corresponding systems, that should be fine. Okay, that configuration is fine. But ramp down, you have to consider a lot of things. One example is this. So in this case, what you have to do is in PI also you have to set a maintenance mode or inform the end user stating that so and so time. I mean, whenever they try to, or what is the option? Another option, can someone recollect it? What PI can do? They will stop the communication channels towards the ERP. Okay, there is an option. They have a button or a method to stop the communication channels during that maintenance window. for a half an hour or whatever it is, they will stop the communications, or else they keep getting the alerts and that will trigger to the entire world. I mean, all the managers and stuff. That's unnecessary thing. So that is one example. Like this, every ramp down, right? Every system going down. So for example, it could BW. So again, BW system, they have to stop the data loads to the ERP system, so that those jobs, because they need to re-trigger them once it is up. So like that, there are a lot of steps based on your integrations on the technologies. Ramp down steps will be there. Okay, so that also, suppose if you take my customer, for doing a 10 minutes activity, I have to go through a procedure of 1 hour ramp down activity. Okay, see, I have to take care of this PA, I have to take care of BW, I have to take care of so and so things. So I have to put it in maintenance mode in both Solman, and then in our external customer also have some tools where to maintain. So these many things I have to do. So suppose if 1 hour is ramp down itself, is again multiple teams involved. So that is also leads to extra downtime. So ramp up means, see, at the end, again, all of those teams, PI guys have to enable the channels, BW guys have to start the loads, and I have to remove the maintenance mode and so on, so things. So, and then suppose if the batch jobs are managed by the TWS, have you heard of it? TWS. Okay, one more example. So it's not only PI channels and then the BW, batch jobs also, because the Tivoli Service Center, IBM's Tivoli, TWS jobs. So that's a software which will monitor the jobs for your entire landscape. Okay, so then you have to inform this TW guys also stop the jobs. Okay, like BTC Trans 2, like we do in that system. Before the downtime, we run the BTC Trans 2 and we suspend the jobs, and then after the upgrade, we run the BTC Trans 1 to release the jobs, like this. So ramp down will have lot many steps. Unlike, it's not as easy as what we think. It depends on the number of interfaces and the way your landscape has been set up. It's that's why you need a regular team to do the ramp down and ramp ups. Okay, that's what I mean by the ramp down and ramp up. So some technical time, downtime, it's very clear. The downtime which we were talking in some. Okay, and then post activities, then finance, this ML data conversion, business validation. These are all things. So your downtime is, business downtime starts from this ramp down to ramp up. You see this middle line. So the first one I'm talking, your business downtime. So you have to consider the moment you start your ramp down to the ramp up. So it's not, so this is comprised of what all components: technical downtime, which is your, from the moment you take the ramp down to the post activities, which is by some of the post activities, and ramp down also part of your taking down the system, technical downtime. And then some technical downtime is exactly how much part of the sum is taking the time. So if you combine these two, then your business time will be much more longer. So does it give you a clear picture of what is this? Or somebody asked, Sophia or someone has asked about downtime. So now is it clear, this downtime concept clear? I'll come back to how long it takes and what are the components impacts the downtime. Okay. See, this is how, your business downtime is from so and so down to some. So you have to consider how much is your ramp down. Okay. So, if it is, you should be knowing it, regular maintenance activities and stuff, or during this conversion, you need to see, because it's a very long downtime. So then obviously whatever things I've told you, PI stopping PI, BW loads, and TWS if you have a jobs, or a BTC Trans 2. So, don't do it in this case, BTC Trans 2, because your some tool needs to run some jobs, right? So, but there are certain things. Okay, so in normal cases you can stop, because TWS jobs, they're all the standard, application jobs. So they can, that's why they use that tool. Okay, and moreover, like Solman is monitoring the whole landscape, so that tool can use to monitor to the all entire across landscape systems jobs. Okay, so you need to consider those all things, and then that based on that you have to some technical downtime anyway. In the mock test or sandbox, you would have run this and you know it. And the post activities also, you should assess it based on the test system or pre-production, how long it took. And the conversion steps also, how long your developers, and these are all will be clear only when you do it in the test system. Okay. And the business validation, 1 hour, 2 hours, or whatever it is. You ask them. So you see, always good to have a call with them and with their experience, how long they need, how many resources parallelly. So that based on that, you define the business downtime, how long it is going to do. So technical downtime, yes, there are certain things which are going to factor. Let's see if I have it in other slides, then I'll discuss about it. Yeah. So, but what all components will impact this downtime? So now, production operation. So, okay, what is downtime? Why downtime? The question, why downtime? It's a simple logic. See, downtime is necessary whenever live running transactions have to be replaced by the new functionality. Yeah, table structures or the functionality has been changed, and a potential risk of data inconsistency is given. That is changing the processing logic, the way it is being processed, or changing the data model or structure. So whenever such kind of things are involved, we would need a downtime because we don't want to entertain the system will be up because the data will be keep on getting modified and that will lead to inconsistencies. Okay, production operations means it's just the end users are using the system. Okay, good. So how do you plan downtime? Availability impact. Okay, so see this slide will explain you how many of them are, what are the type of activities which need short duration and what are type of activities which need long duration. See 0.5 to 2 hours. So for example, daylight savings and then profile parameter changes, minutes, kernel patches, transports. So these things are like very less. So you can see a single events, which means, for example, system conversion. It's a single event. I mean, only once you don't do it regularly. Okay. And then Unicode conversion, you do only once. OSDB migration only once. And then some of them are yearly. For example, update, upgrade, yearly activities. And some of them are quarterly, SAP support packages. Some of them are monthly, kernel patches and profile parameters, and then to weekly. So low frequency to high frequency is given over in the y-axis and start duration. So this is how they are mapped. Okay. So generally these conversions, OSDB migrations will do take longer time than, high impact activities basically. So the thing is overall guidelines when you are considering these downtimes, right? Avoid frequent downtime with long downtime period. Okay. For example, if you want to do an update and upgrade and then conversion, then do all of them together. Like I said, with the DMO option, because believe me, instead of running in 3 projects, running it as one project is much easier. Okay. In one shot, you take care of all these things. Maybe the downtime will, because, and cost also, they will save a lot. Putting the same resources 3 times their cost will be doubled. Okay. You have to build mock systems, everything, again and again, but maybe it may take 1 or 2 months extra time, but close it in one shot. Frequent events needs to be minimized regarding the downtime. For example, what else you can, frequent events, what I mean to say is, club 2 to 3 activities in one shot. Okay, because you have to ramp down once and only ramp up once. For example, you are doing an SP, for example, you have parameter changes, 2-3 parameters you have to change. Okay, if it is absolutely necessary and as a recommendation of P1, you go ahead, but if they are not just recommendations or things, so then wait for example, you have this month end patching activity. Anyway, you take down the system at that time. So that time you call all of them. So that is what I mean. Frequent events need to be minimized regarding the downtime. So offline backups to be avoided for sure. So do you take online backups or offline backup? Which tools you use in your case? Hello. For backups, what do you use?
Yeah, I think we are using back INT.
Backend.
And
okay.
yes, but the tool I'm unaware of.
Oh no, backend is a tool. So
The
backend
store,
is
I mean to say the storage
software.
from the backend.
Yeah, backend is a tool, but there are multiple competitors for that also, backup software providers like Cohesity, and then we have this one here. That company name I can't even remember. That is very horrible. Those guys, 5-6 days. That's why I don't even remember the name also. Very, very bad. 5-6 days production doesn't have a backup, and they don't monitor also whether it is running or not. Then tomorrow I have to take down the system, then I don't have the latest backup. So it is all crazy. So avoid the frequent backups, I mean offline backups specifically, and you know, we have this AWS, Google, and we have this memory image concepts, right? Aiming. You can take the quick snapshot within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Or you can take a snapshot if you, in the worst case, if you don't have the backup before you proceed with the activity. But no, in conversions, I don't recommend it all. You need to have a backup, and then you should have a mechanism of restoring it. For any basis activity, if you tell me, so without backup, either you postpone the activity, don't do it. Simple, I'm telling you. Okay. Who knows? So if the system is, I mean, not having a restore option, that is the very important basis thing. Not having a backup is the one of the worst thing before you are implementing into this thing. Okay, I had this experience once, overlooked it, and our guys with very much overconfident, they hit the system. That's it. These guys did not even look for the what was the last backup and stuff. System went back to 1 week. Okay, so there's no other way. Then they have completely panicked and oh God, what happened now 1 week back? So then there are thousands of developers who are working on the system, and system I had to take it back to 1 week. Then developers were crazy. Oh God, we have reverted so many, we have pushed so many transports to the system, we have done so and so things and all they said. So then how do you deal with such situation? What options do you have?
We
And our
can,
guys are so legends that there is no logs also available. Okay, if the logs are available, I will do, you know, slowly day by day I will restore them and put the database in recovery mode. So that also not possible. Now what option do I have?
we have only one option, Nishant here. We restore it back to the previous date, whatever we want. And before that, we will collect the transports, whatever is imported in the system, and redo the transports.
Yes. That is one thing. And then these guys, after every transport, they have done these corrections. But what about them?
That they have to do manually. I don't think we can do anything.
Yeah. You know, all these kind of messes they push me earlier, at least not now. So I mean, I've seen all these kind of things. I mean, one or the other way I've faced it. Okay. So what I did is I had a discussion with these developers. I mean, I put them, see, I told them very clearly, boss, you have only two options. Either you redo the things, or you help me to fix it, address it in a way that I will minimize your work. Simple thing. If you jump on my head and if you come and sit, you know, people will be frustrated and all, they will be shouting and all. So first thing is, I will be very clear on what are the options available, and there should not be any confusion. Okay. Second option, you work with me, then I will find an alternative which will reduce your efforts of doing these many things. Okay. So what I did, I talked to this development architect, I mean, who was driving that particular transports or some 20,000, 30,000 transports they dumped in the system. Okay. So what I understood from him is, so see, you have imported the transports, I mean, for what purpose they are, and what things, I mean, what tables they're getting updated. Okay. So what are the tables you have hit them. So luckily in my case, uh, these all 20,000 transports are hitting only 3 tables. Okay. What I did, I exported those tables and imported in the system. That's it. All my corrections, everything has come. You got it right. But anyway, I was lucky. But I mean, but again, assessing that and bringing that. So all those 3 or 4 tables I exported and then imported into the database. So after that, I've asked the developers to verify it. They were happy. Oh, good that we have got all our corrections and everything, transports and all these things. And then E070, E07 also I exported and imported. Okay, don't ask me. How do you get this information? I mean, this thing, right? E070 will have what? Transport details. E071 will content of those transports. So, I mean, the details of those transports, how they, so the logs and stuff. So then I exported and then I put it back to here. So with that 5 to 6 tables, so somehow I was able to manage, mitigate that risk, but don't, never ever do an activity without having a kind of mechanism where you do a point in time recovery. In basis, it's very important. So that's it. Losing 1 week data in production is very problematic thing here, guys. Production especially. So mine is a development system. That is why these many transports and all. Still, but production you cannot entertain such things. Okay. So good. backup, and then, so the more downtimes, obviously the cost increases. So the downtime costs are not linear over the system outage, but yes, they keep increasing. Okay, for if you keep on taking longer downtime, because there will be a business impact and business will lose the revenue, and that will have an impact. Okay, so some customers, they do not even give 1 or 2 minutes. 99. So what is your SLA? Airbus SLA availability?
99.9%.
99.9%. Some will give 99.95, 99.99 also people will put, and some will give 100%. Okay, for example, our portal landscape. So they have asked for 100% availability. Simple. So means business should not have even a 0 minute, 0 second in the entire year. So that's why what we did, 6 systems we built, 2 for each region. Okay, you go and do whatever you want, and with a, they don't want, they are least bothered about money and also those. Anyway, portal is small systems. We put them on a HANA, and then we have given them the all these things. So 100% availability. There's no concept of. That's why we don't have any P4s or P5s. I mean, sorry, any P1s or P2s over there. Okay. So yes, it depends on the high availability requirement of your customer. You have to take the call. So downtime of the sum procedure. Then the next, we are talking about only the sum. I mean, how it is going to deal with the thing. So what all activities will take the thing. So you say ECC. So follow this left hand side. So SAP S for HANA server, and the sum phases, these are taking the downtime activities. So reduce downtime, optimize manual activities. I mean, manual activities, try to reduce it. I mean, fix them before hand only, and then optimize some phases. So this also you can do certain things. For example, uptime phase. So preparing the conversion and uptime processing of the sum phase. Okay, that you need to prepare optimized way of defining auth load, etc. Ramp down phase. So logging user, this is what I was talking, PA and all, lock user, ramp down, locking users, isolating SAP system. What do you mean by isolating SAP system means you stop all communications, stop PA channels, stop BW side, isolate SAP system so that it doesn't have any communication with any of the other interfaces. Okay, clean up of the queues. I mean, that one, SM52, those are transactional RFCs, inbound SMQ1, SMQ2s I'm talking. Okay, and then ensure that the system doesn't have any update errors or long running logs, etc. So you do a cleanup of the system. Again, preparation plays a major role here. You do cleanup in the system as better as possible. For example, updating your statistics, system database tables, and database cleanups, what I was talking. Okay, so those things will reduce your downtime, technical downtime. So some phases, table conversion, structural change. In case of DMO, downtime conversion. So post activities. So system checks, customer transports, validation again here, and ramp up things, and then update. So the long downtime. So I think Sophia was asking, what all things can impact my downtime means if you have a 7 TB of database. So one thing, Sophia, as a preparation part, please deal with your, I mean, in your 7 TB database, ensure that if you have run all the housekeeping activities on the database or not, if there are any tables to be reorged or not, okay, and if there are any absolute tables are not being used and just they're there for temp tables, okay, you do perform the cleanup of those tables as well, and archive the unused data, because in initial sessions I was talking. So archive preparation, database preparations, okay, archive the unused data if possible, okay. So then after you do everything also, let's say if it has come to the 5 TB of this thing, right? So then with that data, with the optimized parameters, you run the sum tool in mock and then assess it, how long it is taking and stuff. That will talk about the technical downtime of the sum tool, okay. Again, what phase takes longer time is application data. Okay, so the downtime is mainly defined by the application data, not the repository data, what I was talking. So application data, when I say client customizing data, right, when it is doing 2 parallel R3 load processes or doing export and import, right, in the slide. So application data, when it is copying to the target repository, it takes longer time if you have a very heavy or a very very big database. Okay, and don't worry. So even though if it is a 5 TB, so based on my experience, it takes around 6 to 7 hours. Okay, not even 5 hours. See, can you tell me why? So even a 2 TB database also, it may take 3 hours of downtime. 5 TB database also, it may take 3 hours of downtime. 10 TB database also, it takes 10 hours of downtime. Can somebody explain me?
It depends on the how many R3 loads you have in your server level to
Fine. I mean,
run parallel.
yeah, in HANA, that is the beauty. Okay. So, I mean, you cannot define based on the database size. Please remind this. In traditional databases, you can define based on the database size. My downtime will be so and so thing. But in HANA, that is not the case. I want you to catch that point. Somebody. So why? Yes, R3 load processes. Yes, Nilesh, right? Nilesh or Rajat. So R3 load or these processes you define based on the hardware size, obviously. Okay. But here one catch. In HANA, your 10 TB also can take only 3 hours and your 5 TB also takes 3 hours. Why? Same time. I mean, almost same. With my experience, I'm telling you. So there is no difference. I mean, irrespective of your database size, so it will take the, can somebody?
With the number of parallel processing that we define.
How do you,
HANA, I can see only one difference because there are more column stores instead of row stores.
that is fine. Very simple answer here. HANA has a very powerful hardware.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So if you take a 5 TB, so you will take 5 TB RAM of this HANA server minimum, right? If you have a 10 TB, you will take the target database as the minimum which can handle the 10 TB of database. You getting my point? Okay. If you take 20 TB, you will take the servers which are compatible to the thing. So R3 load is defined by what? Hardware, right? Your hardware. I mean, you put the downtime. Suppose for 5 TB servers, let's say you defined R3 load parallel process 100 in 5 TB server, and in a 10 TB server you put 200, 300. So then it doesn't matter. So it will handle very quickly. So the downtime wise, you will. I mean, in a way, you have to define. Are you following, guys? You getting my point? So this is what, see, in HANA, that is a tricky. That is why you have to run a mock and then you should decide it. Or else there is no easy and shortcut to tell that. But this logic applicable because it depends on the HANA hardware. So hardware defines the your in HANA specifically. Hardware defines your downtime basically. Okay, but yes, there are some sequential steps which will take some 1 hour things. So, but the technical downtime of the sum will be defined by the downtime specifically, mainly by the hardware and the size of the table. It doesn't matter. So you have some huge tables, that's okay. You have some 200 R3 loads to take care. I mean, they're all parallelly running. So that should fine. So with my experience in HANA, so 3 hours or 4 hours, even if you take this example, right, it will complete in 2 to 3 hours, it will complete the downtime because the HANA is a very good hardware. And also you define the primary application servers also little, I mean, PPAS also with a better hardware and better memory. Okay. Then you can very happily, you can get the upgrade completed quickly. Okay. Clear? So, and then, so rest of the things like validation, post steps and all, it depends on your testing and how long they took. So did it answer your question, Sophia? Did I give you some clarity on this?
Yes, Nishant. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, and one more thing. So not only these database cleanup activities to reduce your downtime, you have to delete unnecessary clients. Okay. So unnecessary clients in the system and unnecessary customizations, those things also you delete it. Okay. Why do you want to have this unnecessary stuff over there? Okay. And ensure that you have tuned your parameters also properly in the source system. When what I say, you might be having a very powerful hardware, but you have tuned parameters very badly. Okay, you have defined your dialogues also less, and then this work process, I mean, backgrounds also less. So those things you tune it in such a way that the system will deliver an excellent performance. I mean, to the maximum capability. So the performance tuning is a separate topic. Okay. So there are a lot of things you have to look into and then set it up. So if you do those things, I would strongly feel that any customer who is having this production system, they will tune their parameters as per the SAP recommendations. So I would say that they're good, but still some guys will, but it is important that when you are running in the mock, so please mimic the production. Okay. So profiles, everything, try to mimic it. I mean, setting of those parameters and all, as equivalent to your production. So don't do with dev or test kind of parameters, because that will create a lot of disparity in assessing the downtime needed. Okay, so tabim underscore UPG. So this is where it starts copying the application data. So this will take time in the conversion phase. If you ask me which phase will take more time, this is the phase which will take the. So yeah, these are all the things what I would ask. I mean, without looking in the slide itself, I've told very casually. See, hardware and operating system. Okay, hard disk configurations. It also depends on the hard disks. Okay, yes, you would have had an excellent RAM and all, but if you're a hard disk, what are you getting? What I'm trying to say, hard disk, your disk data volume and log volume, data volume mainly. If your hard disk has a very bad throughput, then that's it. So that will lead to, I mean, it will be slow. I mean, no matter how powerful it is, like you are trying to put so much of data, like in Bangalore Martali bridge, right? It is a small bridge and many vehicles trying to enter, same like this. So you have an excellent powerful RAM and 200 processes, 200 vehicles or 200 R3 loads trying to put the data into Martali bridge, and then that bridge has only the throughput is very less. I mean, only 2 vehicles can pass through it. So same situation like this, bottleneck, if I have to put it. So if your disk size is very bad, and then it doesn't matter how many processes you have or stuff. Okay. So number of modifications again. So if you have so many modifications, then your developers will take time. So number of data conversions, anyway, these are all the tool will take. So apart from the client, installed languages. So if you have more languages to import, then it takes time. So amount of data to be converted is also one of the factor. So I think these are all things will answer your question. So what all things you need to consider, may lead to in more downtime. Okay. So this slide, same again, whatever I am talking in the theory. So runtime depends on this slide. So you just bookmark this slide, then this will give you a clear picture of. So hardware, database utilization, number of modifications, all these things, whatever I discussed so far will be explained over here. Okay. So decoupling in HANA, what we have now. Okay, these points. No, don't get confused. This one is, we don't need it. Just have these slides because it will be very confusing. Just few slides I have kept it. So I don't want to spoil your understanding. So these are the concepts. These will be taken care by the SAP only. So where is this? Yeah, same thing what I was talking, 2 phases and 1 phase direct conversion versus this. Good. So, okay. Downtime data in a nutshell. Anyway, this let's keep it for theory. Let's not get into this. This is, they tweak here and there. So as I say, see, they are taking this some of the tables and they put it over here, and delta migration and delta conversion they do. So those delta tables will be moved to the conversion phase. But no, don't do it. This concept is more than sufficient. That needs strong SAP ABAPers, and those guys will have a lot of tweaking. And I have never done any of these things. So only you get into that situation only when you have to look into, when you have to work on that. Okay, if your customer has an SAP tie-up, and in that case, if SAP is doing this NJDT and that thing, there is nothing you can do, guys, except that you are pressing next, believe me. Okay, so some tools, so everything will be the guide, and one consultant will be there, and those guys will be telling you, okay, press next after so and so phase. That's it.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.